Hey gang, this is Fillmore, just letting you know that if you enjoy our podcast, quite frankly, a Howard Stern podcast, and you'd like to donate some money for the upkeep, or you want to request certain clips, please donate to our Patreon page at patreon.com/JimFix. That's JIMFIXX. You can donate as much as you want for as long as you want. There's absolutely no obligation.
First of all, the nerve of your fucking ass to call me and tell me your fucking problem.
It's not my...
Fuck off. Get lost. Get off. And take your stupid subscription and cancel. Who cares, Dina?
Fuck you.
Fuck you, cunt.
Fuck you.
Do your audience a favor.
Get lost. Don't do my audience. I'll do my audience whatever I want. I'll piss on this audience if I...
Douche.
I do have issues about people leaving me. I want to control everyone in my atmosphere. I am a puppet master. And I want everyone to be a puppet.
He was saying goodbye to me, and he leaned in for a kiss, and I smiled so big that he literally kissed my teeth. I cheated on every one of my boyfriends except for Howard.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
The day I met Howard, my cheating days ended.
You were a cheater?
I was a cheater.
I hate Beth. I think she's only after Howard's money, and she's a real horse face. Can you bang any of those stripper broads on the show?
Teresa Lynn said you banged her.
Teresa who?
She was on here. She was in your movie, Private Parts.
Oh, Amy. No.
Teresa, the one with the little ass.
She never said that.
She told me.
That's a lie. To admit you're lying.
That's Tony. She told
Tony. Did I ever bang Teresa Lynn?
In New Jersey. Welcome to the wrap-up show.
Does any of you gentlemen believe that Beth actually loves Howard?
Yeah, let's come right to the nitty-gritty. Artie and I spent last weekend with him, and if she's in love, then she should get a fucking Oscar. If she's not in love, if she's in love, she should get an Oscar. Artie and Slim.
See?
Uh-oh, here comes Beth. Howard is Beth. Howard is Beth. I'm knitting baby booties.
What are you doing, Beth?
I'm knitting baby booties. I could just see our blonde curly-haired son. At least you don't have to pretend your dog is actually a child.
Beth once even said to me, it was funny too, because Beth once said to me, you know, I wouldn't mind being engaged forever. Like this was, years ago. She goes, I just think the ring is so great. I would love to,
It's romantic.
And it's romantic, and it's kind of cool. But the second I popped the question, she was like, well, let's get on the phone and tell everyone we're getting married. I went, whoa,
Yeah.
no, we're not getting married. We're engaged.
There's no such thing.
You know what it is? I'm so self-important, I just don't even remember meeting anyone.
She was up here one day and I introduced you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Listen, people,
So I'm cured. I'm not going to be cured of any. I am me. I am just going to a psychiatrist so that I can feel better about certain issues in my life. That's all.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest breakdown of, quite frankly, a Howard Stern podcast. I'm your host, Jim Fix, a.k.a. Fillmore, a.k.a. Fillmore Fingers. And with me, of course, is a wonderful breakdown special master, Raven.
Hey, how are you? It's good to be back. Thank you.
And guys, we've got a lot of days to actually break down, but not a lot of clips because we're going to focus more on the tail end of the shows closer to now. So the 28th of September, the 29th of September, the 5th of October, the 6th, and the 7th of October. And again, they're bottom heavy. So if it seems like we're skipping through a lot, trust me, we're doing you a huge service here. So on the 28th, other than the Chris Rock clip that I'm about to play, was there anything really of note that we need to talk about?
Nothing comes to mind. Then there were no notes from me that day other than what we're going to hear from Chris.
Okay, so I'm going to play the clip and then we'll discuss it real briefly.
We'll try this, even if it doesn't work. Hey, it's Zoom, and fuck it. What are we going to do?
Wait, sorry. Are we on the air, or is there even an air to be on? Everything is just recorded now?
No, we're live.
Really?
We're live.
Really?
That's what's so great about this show, that it's live. I can't stand doing a recorded interview, because then you get a call 20 minutes later like, hey, man, do you mind editing that out or this out? You know what I mean? It's just bullshit.
Okay, first off, two things then. Two things from this. He hates recording hosts because that word editing requires more work. Sounds familiar.
Yes.
And, why you'd prefer live. Second of all, is the thing you're going to go into. Chris Rock, this supposed super fan, doesn't know that he's live?
No, not a clue. It's so funny because it kind of, I think it kind of stops Wiggy in his tracks for a minute, and then he just, keeps on going. But yeah, Chris thought that this was going to be recorded and played at a later time, so he doesn't even know he's on during the show hours. He doesn't know the show is still, happening on a regular, like Wiggy's regular schedule. So I found that hysterical, and a lot of great people on Twitter picked up on that. A lot of other Stern haters like us.
What was the gist? What was that you can recall?
It was like, Chris, besides the therapy talk that Chris did about him realizing he's sick and he's got a mental disability, it was just people like, wow, even Chris Rock doesn't listen to the show. Who is listening to the show anymore?
Yeah.
How many, nobody seems to have any clue about what's going on this show. So it was more of that.
Yeah. And the third thing that also made me kind of laugh was that it's Zoom, like, fuck it. If it's not right, who cares? Like, they get what they get was the attitude I kind of heard in that clip, which is, I don't know, if best foot forward going forward. I don't think so. So we're going to go into the 29th, guys. And this, what I clipped especially was this AGT, again, like shitting on them, and then a bunch of denial about the way it all went down. So the first clip, number one, and I'm sorry I didn't title the first one, but it wasn't necessary. It wasn't particularly witty. Poor Wiggy passive aggressively shits on AGT.
I'm not going back to AGT.
No.
No. I don't watch AGT anymore, but every once in a while I'll say to John Hine, what's going on with AGT's ratings? How are they doing? He told me they weren't doing so well. America's Got Talent.
Simon, not good for ratings?
What's going on with that, John?
They had the finale this past week, and about a little under 6 million viewers. So it's down. But
now okay. Let's go through this just real quick, because he's been off that show now officially 5 years.
More than that, wasn't it?
2015. 2000. He was there 3 years, I believe. 2012 to 13 to 14 to 15. So 3 years, I believe, or three or four. I think it was 3. And someone on Reddit did this great breakdown. It's like, okay, the ratings before he got there, the ratings during, and the ratings after. They went down when he got there, and they went back up when he left. They don't lie.
No.
So the gaslighting necessarily, like he's trying to find Schadenfreude, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Okay, so he's trying to find Schadenfreude over the fact that 5 years after then, their ratings are going down. Was it a slow spiral that your departure finally affected them?
Oh my God. I always say that this was like the best gift in reverse he ever gave us, because there's so many lies that came out of this. It showed his irrelevance, his unlikability, his awkwardness. It's just, he has nothing to offer the world right now. I just don't see it. So the AGT stuff, it's like once every 2 to 3 weeks we get a dose of that. Just for anybody who's missing the shows, you're not.
Yeah, the Simon hate.
Last year's finale had about 10 million, so it's way down this year.
Oh my goodness, how awful! Just how horrible is that? So sad. Fuck them.
This is an American institution.
You know what I love too? Like, sometimes I remember on America's Got Talent, like we would invite Piers Morgan to guest judge or something like. We would bring back the old judge, because I think they've completely scrubbed me off that show. I don't think do you ever?
Okay, so he's getting into this, and that's the 30-second cutoff as always, guys. I should make like a code word for that. So what do you think psychologically? This is something for Bob D, I suppose, but Raven, you're good at this too. You have a good gut for this stuff. You have a knack. Why is he still so upset about that? Is it just the whole narcissism? I can't take that I was rejected.
Yeah, it's always telling a lie long enough that you believe it and the people around you will believe it. So it's got to be about him. Everything reverts back to him. Even Eddie Van Halen's death.
Oh yes,
which we'll get into at the end of this show.
Big time.
spoiler alert, that he makes it about him. So, and Simon is just the perfect target. He's got somebody who does fake Simon voice. And they'll sometimes get in some good jabs, which are, passive aggressive by the staff. So I love that. That's one of the highlights, believe it or not. Or Sarah Huckabee Sanders does some great digs on Wiggy too, but that's about it.
One of my channel, my Stern channel, the adjacent channel to the QF channel, I posted, because I don't really post modern stuff, but I posted a clip of him losing to a pre-taped Simon Cowell impersonator, in terms of like insults, and doing the dozens but losing handily, and people were like, "This is what the show is now? This is how bad it is?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, yeah, of course. Anyway, no quality control and no ability to see that, and just no, doesn't care. But I would, as a matter of, if he had comedy chops, he wouldn't allow that to go on. He wouldn't allow that to stay. He'd delete that.
It's even some of the hackiest stuff I've heard. Like I said, 1 out of maybe 20 is funny.
Yeah,
that's not a good at bat. Okay, your batting average is really low there. Sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna go through the rest of this clip. It's only a minute.
See me like in old clips or anything, or have they erased my memory?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't watch.
Yeah, I won't watch it either.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Have they erased my memory? How much is he thinking about his legacy, even after he's gone?
Mm-hmm.
And like, he must be, I know we talk about this, and I really think that his will is probably like War and Peace, because it's got to have like stipulations for a million things about after he's gone. I know how he is, and I'm sure he's got somebody like just a will tutor that is helping him to disperse his money and make sure the right people get it under the right circumstances. Like, I think he's got lawyers on retainer.
I think the will is 1 page long, and it's like bury me with that shit.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I you could go both ways, but I see it as like no one's getting anything, just to be a prick in death.
Just right. I think he's got some daggers to throw after death, and that could be part of the pages I'm talking about, or it could just be an FU to everybody, and be like, just burn it. No one's getting. If I can't have it, no one's getting it. No one earned this.
I would. Yeah,
he's going to totally say that that's mine, and it doesn't belong to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He's not about helping people. I mean,
no.
It took years for him to adopt a cat after 6 Yanka and everything else that we heard about, how he hated cats and he never wanted them. Beth needed a fur baby because she wasn't going to get a real human baby. Oh
God, yeah.
And that was the road he had to go down. I'm sure the therapist had some say in that he had to compromise with beef on an animal. And then Don turned it into, well, let's make it a charity and tax deductible. So
absolutely,
that's how that monster grew.
Yeah. Well, it's entirely possible. It's certainly plausible. That's for sure.
Because fuck it, I don't work there anymore. I got
I had enough. Once you left, I was done.
Yeah, I got PTSD when I watched it.
A lot of people are watching, apparently.
Yeah, a lot of people. I think America misses me.
Wow.
Nope.
I think America got tired.
No, definitely.
What are you laughing about over there, Jason? What do you mean? America misses me, obviously.
No, absolutely they miss you. I wasn't laughing at that.
Now, those are the Flying Monkeys, Bob D. Bob D, you're going to have a field day with this, and we didn't even get, we're 10 minutes in, barely.
Right.
And we're already like going straight into the psyche. And so Jason's got to tell him, you're right, boss. Robin's got to say, you're right,
after he laughs
boss.
in his face. Jason laughed at all that, and Wiggy caught right onto it. He was like, "What are you laughing at me? I'm serious."
A bit of a stumble.
Like, no. He totally backtracked and he kissed his butt, just like everybody else. I mean, Robin piled on, as always, as per contract, and anybody else that is on that Zoom call is going to do the same too, because they know where their bread's buttered.
Absolutely.
What other conclusion can you draw, Jason?
Look, the numbers don't lie. You were there and the numbers were high, and now you're not there and they're low. I mean, what's there to even argue about? I watched the show, and they do not. I've never seen them show a video clip of you in any sort of past, anything. But I also don't see them showing a lot of past video clips, period, of stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess they just don't honor their past.
That was the end of that clip. Yep.
Okay, I don't watch AGT anymore.
Same.
I watched it when he was first on, and even then it was a slog and a chore.
Oh yeah,
But
I bet.
I'm gonna say there's no remembrance of him, because if there was, he would have brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody out there who's in the chat or in the comment section of this, please let us know if you've seen any clips that they've used of him in the past, because I'd be curious to know that myself.
Mm-hmm. And I'd actually be surprised if there were, because he will probably have some stipulation like you're not allowed to use my likeness after I'm gone, something like that. And so it's almost like he's got you over two barrels. Like if you use me, I'm going to shit on how badly you did the editing, and if you don't use it well, because I'll give you shit because even if it was my mandate or if I had to say in it that you didn't remember me, like the in memoriam stuff, like when Brad Renfro was left out of the memorial thing at the Oscars when he died. So anyway, the next one is called Delusional Wiggy Going Deeper into Denial.
Mel B probably was the only one who really knew
She
what
actually had a legitimate career where she
made
sang. Money making music and selling albums.
Yeah. But and Simon's a big turd. He walks around like he knows something. He's just a fucking guy who I don't even know what he does. He claims he's a record executive or something.
Please.
I don't know.
Jesus
maybe he's got some talent.
He was a curmudgeon.
Now I have to
Nope,
stop this, guys.
nope.
He must be Simon Cowell must be worth $1 billion now.
I'm sure he's got over 100. Let's play the over-under game here.
Okay.
But yeah, he's managed the boy bands. He did, what was Harry Styles' group? One Direction.
One Direction, yeah. And I'm embarrassed I know that, but guys, it's pop culture. It's just a part of, it's like a stupid trivia question. Why do you know that, the James Whale directed, Frankenstein? I don't know. You just remember stupid things.
All right. So Simon Cowell is worth $600 million.
Okay. So, yeah.
According to Wiggy, he doesn't know what he does.
Mm-hmm. And these things, there's no accurate estimation of what Simon's worth, because he owns it's trademark stuff. He owns he at least part owner of the American Idol shit, all the America's Got Talent, the X Factor, like around every country. It's like franchising a McDonald's. They have to pay a certain percentage to the mother company anyway. So he's getting a piece of every one of these shows. And then he had his hand in the fucking record labels, the record sales, songwriting, everything. So if it says 600, it's probably closer to $1 billion. Go ahead, Raven.
It's got a salary at $95 million a year right now. He's 61. A A&R executive, television producer, entrepreneur, screenwriter, presenter, critic, record producer, business person, actor, and TV personality.
Yes.
And what does Wiggy have? He's got radio personality.
He's a podcaster.
1 movie credit and 3 books.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so it's the jealousy. I don't understand. I don't care if he has a problem. I would much prefer it, and I think you would, and the audience would, if he would just be on and say, I hate them for fucking firing me. I hate them for shit canning me. Right. And yes, the guy is talented and all that. People would love that kind of candor. But no, he can't do it because it diminishes him. He has to then admit, that Simon knows what he's doing, and he's some kind of success, and he has to, what's the word, diminish his everything about him.
Even Bob D, I think, would agree that they abandoned him. Mm-hmm. And when an MPD person gets abandoned, then it's nothing but pure hatred and bringing up their lists that they've kept all this time of complaints about them and anybody associated with them. So it plays right into the hand that, he's a mess. He's a hot mess. He's falling apart, and it's just coming out left to right. He can't even contain it.
Right. And how's therapy supposed to help this? Like all these years of therapy, and this is how he's reacting? It's incredibly childish. Let's get the last bit of that.
That's really it. It was like he was annoyed by everything.
You're horrible. Well, hey, douchebag, you invited me to come down here. Fuck you.
When you walked out, I was ready to be bored.
Okay, King Tut.
we're just talking, Sam and I, about who does the worst impressions on the show. I think Robin's obviously a distant third, but and Fred, it's a wash between Fred and Wiggy.
I agree.
Yeah, the
Robin's
last
pretty
bit,
bad.
she's horrible. The last bit is Robin busts them for having a script. You guys all jumped on top of this. I'm gonna play it and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, but when Beth used to see me come out of there, like I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, I got to get out of this thing. But I hung
Okay, 1 sec. Now it's I'll play it out, guys, because it's just over 30 seconds.
in there for 4 years, but I don't know. I don't wish them well.
You mean you don't wish them ill?
I mean, I don't wish them ill. Sorry, I did something. Because that was a Freudian. They call that? No, I seriously don't. Yeah.
I was looking at his script and I said, he just read that wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you have it.
Okay, why would she say that unless there really was a script?
They get binders for every show. I'm sure they're faxed or printed or emailed.
Yeah.
And that's why he complains that he has to print his own stuff is for his script, his notes, as he calls them. But Robin calls it a script. And it's so funny because he doesn't wish them well, which if you have bad eyesight, looks just like wish them ill.
Mm-hmm.
So ill and well, I think it was just an old man kind of moment, like a Geritol moment that he said that and Robin picked right up on it. But man, she slipped.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have said that.
And he could not rebound off that at any point. Now, over the last months, he's been going on about COVID and masks and what have you. And whatever your points are, I believe this is the context of the next clip on the 5th of October. This one's number 1. Blob and the nurse pipes up, and I just every time she brings up her medical acumen or her medical knowledge, I laugh and I have to put it up.
And so
Can
the
I ask
other
you something too? Because what really bothers me, like I was in the medical profession.
Right. You were a nurse.
And
The Air
what
Force.
really bothers me is how now these doctors are talking like dopes.
Yeah. Well, certain doctors keep quiet. Well, there was a doctor this morning, and I want to continue with this train of thought. I've been dying all weekend to get this out, but there was a doctor this morning.
I think they're talking about Connolly's report on Trump's medical. This was,
Right.
I mean, now it's ancient history. Now it's the 16th. When over here it's the 16th, and when she talks about it, she. I don't want to go too far into it, but whenever she talks about being a nurse, or they bring up you were in the medical profession, they make it sound like she was involved in some kind of like molecular biology or something.
She's taken blood pressures, for Christ's sake, temperatures, giving sponge baths and straddling patients she felt bad for, allegedly, which I don't even believe.
Oh, it never fucking happened. It wasn't
and she was
even in her book, by the way. It wasn't in her book. She never said in her book that she straddled a patient. That was after the fact. Why wouldn't you have included that if it really happened? But, well, the whole book was fiction. Go ahead.
She's also busy evading taxes when she was a nurse.
Yeah,
like
big time.
They had to confiscate salary for a year or two after that when she left.
Well, that was the Army and the nursing part.
Air Force.
It was the Air Force. Yeah, that's right. I was going to ask you. The next clip involves the infamous Dawn call, aka the caller of the year in our parts. What was the context? What was she calling in about exactly? I can't recall.
She was saying that how dare you say you can't get these treatments?
Oh yes.
That you're a millionaire and you and all your millionaire friends are, of course you're going to get these treatments that Trump got if you're in that position that you get sick. Mm-hmm. And man, did he jump on her. Mm-hmm. And even when it happened, I was like, oh, this is just the back office being, playing the devil's advocate. But when they deleted it from the replay, that made me a believer that it was possibly a real call.
I would say if they deleted it, I'd say it's absolutely a real call because unless it was a staff slip, like when Robin said, "Oh, don't do blackface," and that was deleted out of the replay that one time when they were talking about what not to do during the whole George Floyd thing, And
Right.
she said, "Oh, this is, remember, this is something else you shouldn't do." And that was during the blackface sort of, the little media storm that he was getting, but not much. There wasn't really much of one. Yep.
It seems like they're whitewashing themselves PC. So maybe she was a fake caller. I'll just play the opposite side.
Sure.
And he overreacted with language that was non-approved. It was anti-feminist and it was cruel. It was just harsh and rough. And he's trying to come off polished. So because he didn't have a more educated fake response to the fake caller, that could be a reason to wash it off, delete it off the replay. But we as fans or ex-fans, we always have this hope of, please let it be something on this be real.
Yeah.
And hope that maybe one of us would someday get through, which I didn't try to get through. I was just, it's a little hectic in the morning with the thread and two kids on virtual school. So I never got around to that, but I'm still hoping someday try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other thing was, and I was going to mention this, if in the replays, when stuff gets taken out a certain way, it's not limited to just the latest shows, guys. Even stuff from the $800 bottle of wine, with Robin. There's a video clip, maybe 4 minutes, 3 minutes long on their channel, the Howard Stern official channel, and Artie's edited out of it. You hear a bit of his laugh, and that's it, but you don't see any video. So video edits, audio edits, and there's no point because he's not really so involved in that because he wasn't at the dinner. And I'm thinking, why in God's name? Who's the Frankenstein scissors that chopped this out so clumsily? And what was the point?
They're terrible at it. And the point is it's somebody, whether Marcy or whoever, is got a rule book, and it none of this talk can be in it. And the perfect example before this that really comes to mind was the Wendy Williams.
Oh God, yes.
That rant.
Oh, and I should preface this, guys. If by some chance you don't hear the aforementioned the audio that you're supposed to hear, you'll on the YouTube channel, that's because I allowed the edit to be made, knowing that on the podcast itself, like the Podbean or Spotify or whichever podcast app you're using, you'll hear the unexpurgated version. But that would be because I wanted it on the YouTube channel, because sometimes there are edits that are made for copyright reasons, and some of them do get stricken because they go after them specifically. So anyway, if you seem like there's a bad edit here, it's not me, it's them. So just a little preface. So Don, let's hear from Don.
Hey Howard, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
First time caller with you guys.
Cool.
I'm paying for my subscription. I hear you on the radio. You're killing me. I want to cancel you so bad. You're the first person in line to get this cocktail. I don't know who you're kidding with your listeners. It's so
I'm the first
frustrating.
person in line to get the cocktail. Where am I going to get a cocktail? Who the fuck is going to give it to me?
He's staying in his house trying not to get COVID.
Now, I think I absolutely believe it's a real caller because she's right on after him. She doesn't lather his ass. She simply says, first time caller. And then she goes, you're killing me. And
if you notice, she's a little nervous.
Yes.
A lot of these other callers aren't nervous at all. And she's got bad sound quality. It sounds real. I hope it's real.
So another 25 seconds, guys.
What I'm busy doing, Dawn, is wearing a mask, not seeing my loved ones. My parents aren't doing well.
What loved ones?
Oh, boy.
I had to stop that.
He's in heaven.
Sorry, guys. I normally don't interrupt it like that.
We're all separate. I'm watching everything I eat so that if I do get COVID, I'm trying to exercise as best I can so that I can survive this stuff. I don't know what fucking planet you're living on that you think I've got a fucking connection.
So what's Robin doing? Okay, the next one, number 3, the evolved feminist calls Dawn a cunt and drops her call.
I don't wish anybody illness.
Pretty much.
That's wrong, Dawn. Don't quote me as saying that.
Radio.
What? What'd you say?
We could see your smile through the radio, Howard, as you're talking
No, you're
about
projecting your own thoughts, my dear.
You don't know what I feel.
So are you.
I'm not projecting my thoughts onto you. You're wrong. I resent you telling me that I'm happy that the president. I didn't say that. I said I don't want to see anyone get sick. That's the quote.
Okay, and this is a little extra long, so we got to break it up as always. Yeah, but Raven, you wanted to say.
Well, Dawn, we have a very safe, happy place for you here, quite frankly, on Facebook and YouTube, Podbean. Come join us. I think you'll feel right at home here because we have a lot of like-minded people like yourself that think the same way. So,
well, she hit him right off the bat. She said that's what you're doing. You're projecting.
Mm-hmm.
You're projecting, and you can hear in his voice he's being challenged that he does not get ever, especially where he's working.
He always talks over callers when he doesn't like what they're saying. Yep. That's a clue that it's real too. So 1 point for real.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to believe this one.
Oh, I'm certain it is, because every other caller is meant to, like, if it's a fake phony impersonation, like the Simon Cowell impersonator or a Trump impersonator or whoever the fuck, or Biden, and then obviously it's fake. We're not talking about that, guys. But when callers call in seemingly organic, but yet they get a lot of time on the air, and they don't get clipped off. It's meant to, pass a mandate, like to progress some kind of mandate that he wants to put forward. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, devil's advocate on this being fake.
Mm-hmm.
It gives him more time to pontificate about masks and treatment and the government and go political. So it gives him more content.
Yep.
And it gives him like a spike in emotion, because he doesn't have real emotions except anger and jealousy. But I'm always seeing both sides of an argument. I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something innate in me, but I just want to hear more right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then you sat around with your little millionaire friends in a Zoom call, and you complained about how, I wonder if this is true, or I wonder if this is.
First of all, you quote my friends as millionaires. You don't know who my friends are. One of them was a car dealer.
Wayne Siegel.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I heard. When I heard that, I go, poor Shouty. It's like there's a perfect opportunity for a plug right there.
He works in a store with a car shop, and the other one was a nurse.
Deborah, or sorry, Ashley.
Yeah. Take your pick.
It's like employees, sponsors,
daughter
or
number
family.
2.
There are no friends
that I'm friendly with.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not a multi-millionaire friend of mine. She's a nurse. She works on the front lines. You're a fucking cunt. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, Dawn, and cancel her subscription. Go fuck yourself, you fucking bullshit artist. What a bitch. My millionaire friends. Like, I got some fucking line into how to get that drug.
Okay. Regardless, guys, and guys, we are not going to get into politics. I'll preface the later clips by saying one of the first mandates when I started, quite frankly, with Sam and with Raven, was we were not going to let politics infect it's already like a very polarizing year. But in no other year, no other election year could you talk to a person, let's say in 1988, and say, well, I'm voting for Dukakis, well, I'm voting for Bush, and lose friendships and family over it. I mean, typically that would never happen. These days it is happening, and I've got friends who have since had lost family members for sure because of who either one of them is voting for, or who they're supporting, whatever. And I never want people to be polarized because of a stupid show that's meant to be about a specific topic. So this is not an indictment of anybody. It's just simply explaining why we aren't going to say which way we're coming from, because it's irrelevant in this point. You guys want politics, you can get it just about anywhere else. It's coming out of the walls in most people's houses. Go ahead.
Yes, we're your support group that brings people together. We don't tear people apart here.
Right.
That's the one thing we've never done. We're very supportive of our group. And the last thing I want to do is have politics or religion or anything polarizing, like you said, come between us all, because we're here for a different reason. We're not here for that.
Yeah.
We're here to entertain. We're here to, what's the word?
It's okay. Even if there's a pause, I'll edit it out. Go ahead.
We're here kind of just for each other. As like I said, support group says it all. It's our therapy.
WA.
It's our sanity sometimes in this crazy world that, you know, we can have fun and joke around with people who are really just here to have fun. So that's why I love this place.
And some of those are the best comments. Please, by the way, everybody, I also should stress that I don't do it enough. More comments, please, in the YouTube, and more like we're on Twitter as well, but and the Facebook group is obvious, but more comments on the Podbean app and whatever, Spotify, whatever ratings. If you like us, great. Please let us know all about it and what you like specifically. And we get so many great comments about how, you know, we're helping people through their, you know, tough time, whatever. That's what podcasts should be for. You can be either to inform or entertain, sometimes both if you're lucky. So that's our PSA. The last clip here is Robin tells Wig nothing gets his pud into a lather like Cocktober. And I should also say, guys, typically in the Cocktober, he hasn't really gone full bore, pardon the expression, until after the 1 week break that they often do take a break in October, don't they? Like 1 week?
That's typical for them. Yeah, the second week of October is their vacation week, and then they come back till Thanksgiving and take 2 then.
Right, then it's 2 industrial strength cock weeks, and that's my prediction. Raven, you want to go like over under on, you know? It's really 6 days. That's the stupid thing.
I think we'll probably, okay, this is just a guesstimate, but we have 6 shows left in Cocktober.
Right.
So one of them is the prettiest penis contest, which is basically send me your dick pics.
Yeah.
By any means possible. And then they're going to critique them, you know, Ralph and Wilding and Howie, all the usuals. Yeah. They'll need at least 2 days to talk about that. So that might be the whole last week of the month.
I'd say so.
But they haven't given, I know they mentioned stuff. There was the ugliest penis and the prettiest penis. So it might be the ugliest this coming week, and then they'll finish it off with the best one. I don't know, but it's probably gonna be a lot of like parodies and, you know, Ralph and Chris stories about who they're looking at on OnlyFans or something.
Well, the weird thing is, it's not like they can have people in studio. So isn't it kind of this the kind of the worst time of the year if they really wanted to do this, to have anything visual?
Got to forge ahead. I guess they're just going to blur stuff out and put it maybe on the app, because they did that with the choir. When the Naked Choir came in for George Takei, they blurred them out in the lower region. But there's I did some research on the app, but it's not just Howard that's got videos. So everybody knows it's every channel. There's Jenny McCarthy. There's other stuff. The Hits One channel. Even BPM has videos. Oh, so it's like they're all zooming. They're all recording clips. They're not long clips, but it's not a Howard 360 brand specific. It goes across the board for the whole company, and we'll get into Serious Company later. I did some work, and so did Fillmore. So
here we go, guys. This is the little promo.
Yes, we have so many exciting events for this Cocktober. I don't even want
all month.
Oh, absolutely. 31 days of Cocktober. And, you know, we love it. The last couple of years, we've really amped it up. If I told you some of the things we have planned on Wednesday, just this past Wednesday.
Yeah, sorry, you were going to say something?
No, they amped it up. They ignored it for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And they've changed it to like a daily thing of just every day is Cocktober.
Sounds like a Morrissey song.
I was in a very high-level meeting discussing all of the Cocktober events. And I got to tell you, I got so excited what this audience is in store for.
We know.
I mean, you know, you talk about morning shows and you talk about entertainment. Look, I'm in a better mood already. I haven't forgotten about.
Start talking about cock, and you start smiling.
Because it's funny. Cock is funny. I don't care if you're straight or gay. Cock is funny. Guys running around naked.
Nice save. And I know Deborah, you're one of our QF members. She's gonna say, no, of course not. That's, you know, all straight men say cock is funny. No, they don't. No, sorry, no.
No, but Robin sure got in a little dig there. She's like, we just mentioned Cocktober and you start smiling.
Right. And he needed to save. He needed to go, I don't care if you're gay or straight. Cock is funny.
Oh.
But you notice, the thing is, he doesn't laugh at these bits. He's actually entertained. He's not laughing at some guy bringing his dick out. He's actually just examining it, talking about it, describing it like he's discussing the fucking Manhattan Project, and he's actually getting something out of it. He's not finding it funny, like the rest of us.
Suddenly, his interviewer skills are coming back to him, and he starts rapid firing all these questions off.
He's like Dick Cavett. We're gonna go into October 6th. This one is number one called. First clip is called King Baby Protected from Negative Emails. And I might get clipped because it's got some of the stupid fucking Rob Zombie song.
Thank you for your lovely emails, etc.
No emails, guys, by the way. Let's be quite clear about this. He's not getting emails.
Yesterday, about my statements about the current administration and politics. But fortunately, I have people who filter them and keep the negatives out. So thank you for the positive ones. I don't want to read your negative horse shit because you're a moron.
Okay, and listen, someone's going to say, well, you've already admitted to blocking negativity on your YouTube channel. No, I've explained. If it's constructive criticism, we leave it up, and if it's something people don't quite understand or they disagree, that gets left up too. But if it's some dickhead saying, I hate your voice, whatever, yeah, we block them and we get rid of them because that person's not interested in the content. So, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so he has an email filter. He has a shusher, email filter. The jobs just keep adding up. He's got to be protected, like you said, King Baby. And, he calls us morons. That's a word his dad used to use. He's sounding more and more like his dad and his mom in these rants.
Oh, yeah.
But he just doesn't want to put anything. He doesn't want to hear anything. The emperor has new clothes kind of deal.
Yeah.
Where he just wants his ass kissed constantly. Yep.
Clip number 2 was fascinating to me because he actually mentioned Bubba. And recently someone posted on our Facebook group about Bubba being interviewed by I can't remember the guy, but he's been doing a lot of interviews by Zoom with ex-staffers or associate, stern peripheral characters. And he's talking about how he still loves Howard and, everybody who hates him is a moron and stuff like this. Bubba is desperate now for any kind of gig, and he had emailed Howard, and apparently there was some correspondence that means they have some contact. And I couldn't believe it because I thought for sure he was persona non grata to Wiggy. So for Wiggy to admit it was kind of amazing to me.
I agree. It was a shock to hear Bubba.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Speaking of radio.
How's he doing?
We just exchange niceties, like we just check in and go, hey, how you doing? I go, hey, how you doing? This kind of thing. I don't want to get too deep with Bubba. Either he's really doing great or he's doing really bad. And if he's doing really bad,
I don't get sucked into the vortex.
Well, I'm not good with that stuff.
What a friend.
When things are really bad and people call me, oh my God, things are really bad. You're supposed to be able to cheer people up. But I do worry about him.
Yeah, that clip was, I do worry about Bubba and other short works of fiction. So I found that funny that he mentioned him because especially after that Tony Bruno, Hulk Hogan tape, the idea that Bubba was putting forth the notion last time I heard him on the show that Tony Burton, like Buchwald, who was a Buchwald client, knew and actually middled the Hogan tape, the Hogan sex tape with Heather.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I heard that
and
too.
So, yeah, and that they were intimating that they knew all about it. Even I remember. Yeah. I wish I had that clip. But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just best friend ever, right? I mean, Eddie Van Halen tried to befriend him. Dee Snider, a lot of these big names back in the day, I think, tried to warm up to him, and there's just no warming up Wiggy.
No,
he is just solely about him. If you're not talking about him, you're not talking. Mm-hmm. You're not his friend. You're not going to last very long in that circle. And you have to eat dinner fast and go to bed at 8. So if you play by his rules and talk about him and do his things, his, hobbies.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah, it's all about him.
What could have been?
I say if you're religious.
Oh, this clip was called, guys, sorry. Rick Moranis loves his children, but not more than I love myself. And it details the assault that Rick Moranis suffered in New York, which is, and I, as a hardcore SCTV fan, I didn't.
Oh, it's atrocious.
It is atrocious, yeah, of course, but it would be atrocious if it happened to fucking Joe Schmo. So let's just hear King Wiki's canonizing of Saint Rick.
Rick Moranis is such a good guy. This is the Rick Moranis story, and this is why you haven't seen him in the movies for a while. So Rick Moranis, his wife died, and his kids were young. And despite having this huge fucking Hollywood career, he said, fuck it. I'm walking away from Hollywood. I got enough dough. And I'm going to raise my kids. I'm going to be there for my kids every single day. And you never heard from the guy again. He never went back and did anything.
Now, I'm going to stop that there briefly because it's over 30 seconds anyway. But, and it's true, after around, okay, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid or something like that, he was, his career, it seemed like it was winding down anyway. So I think Rick Moranis was smart and just kind of took it he got and ran. He was making mostly kid stuff at the time. But yes, his wife did pass away and he was a widower. And he did step out of the business completely, not even to do guest stuff, occasionally for charity. With SCTV, there was a reunion that they're going to show on Netflix that Scorsese supposedly directed that I think Jimmy Kimmel moderated, but it's still, I'm not hearing any release dates. This was done 2 years ago. One of my wife's cousin attended the thing because he's even a bigger SCTV fan than he's as big a fan as me. And he actually wore the Johnny LaRue jacket. He's friends with Jewel Hallmeyer. And so anyway, he released like an album, I think it was called The Agoraphobic Cowboy, which was like a country and western album because he's actually musically quite inclined, Rick Moranis. That's the funny part. And I think he got Grammy nominated or he won a Grammy for it.
Cool.
If I'm not mistaken.
I did not know all that.
Yeah,
you're
it's
a much
cool.
bigger fan than I am.
No, it's just because I would hear like this sort of SCTV adjacent news and somebody would send me links, a couple of friends that are just as big fans. Anyway, so Wiki's talking about he took care of his kids. He couldn't run away from his own children fast enough, but he's praising Rick Moranis for being there for his children. I just found it so ironic.
Completely left show business to take care of his children. Now, I don't know how many dudes you know. I know plenty of them. I don't know one guy who could last more than an hour or two with his kids, sitting there at home and walking away from a Hollywood career. You know what I mean? That's a fucking saint. Rick Moranis, who gets sainthood.
It seems like the bar for sainthood is really low, guys. If you're a caring father and you spend time with your kids, you're a saint. So there's billions of saints out there.
For more than an hour. He's like,
yeah.
I know tons of people. So right now, anybody who he's acquaintance with that's a dad is like, whoa, dude, don't be saying that because I don't want to be I don't want my wife thinking that. You know, Fallon, Kimmel, all these guys, Levine.
Yeah.
They all have kids. And it's like, dude, you know, don't be blowing up my shit. But yeah, he's just a child hater.
You're attending your kid's baseball game? Whoa, that's heavy.
You made him lunch?
You didn't tell your kid you're on the clock and start tapping at your watch. Okay, there's this one clip that I don't think you mentioned it. I know you would have mentioned it in the mockery thread, which by the way, everybody join the Facebook group for that alone. Even though we don't have so many left this year, but it's fun every time.
24 more. 24.
He told a story about being offered to purchase Playboy back in the day, which may or may not have been true, but the way he tells it is so he tells you a story that you never hear. I think I could tell you. I don't think I could tell you. And I want to play this for prospective XM serious investors who are worried if he's going to come back.
What?
Did I ever tell the story about how I almost ended up taking over that franchise?
No.
Oh, I didn't. I wonder if I could. Now that the guy's dead. Let me think about it. I gotta think it through before I tell you this story. I'm going to tell you a mind-blowing story.
Interesting. No, you never mentioned that.
I wonder if I could tell that story. I would have to. I really got to just think about it because I don't know if there's any ramifications. It's one of the...
Okay, I'm breaking it up. And I'm only breaking it up so you guys can get your heart started again.
Greatest stories ever. I think the only person I ever told about it was Ralph. Went out of his mind.
What would the ramifications be?
Who else would you have told?
Oh man.
But your pillow partner, pillow talk.
Pillow biter.
I don't know. I just know at the time I kept it quiet. But I don't think I need to keep it quiet anymore.
Yeah,
Such
I
a great
think that
story.
Playboy would pay you to talk about him now.
All right, I'll maybe tomorrow you'll hear that story.
Okay.
The 7th, we never heard any story.
No.
There is no story. It was just all bullshit.
You kidding me? No fucking way with this guy.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. It's just filler.
And by the way, everybody, so I'm not going to play the rest. There's only 17 seconds left, and it's all nonsense. It's more of the same. Nothing better than a story except telling people you have a story again and again and not telling the story.
That would have been a good saber dance.
I think so. Yeah, if not for the Jeopardy music, that's the other reason I didn't add that. There is a great blind item. Did I forward you the AGC main page link?
I'm on it. I read all of October and September. I've been digging deep.
Did you check the archives?
Sorry,
it's fast. Balls deep. Did you check even the older stuff, because it goes chronologically? Obviously, it's an amazing layout. It's kind of dull. It's not dynamic. It doesn't look great, but it's easy to read, especially on a PC or a tablet.
I've been a fan of that website for years, and only when my computer died at work did I lose the bookmark, and then you gave it to me just a couple weeks ago. So I'm back full force, and I may have missed a few months at during the summer when I was homeschooling and cleaning up a basement that flooded.
There you go.
Ahead.
That'll take that'll take number one in your priorities real fast.
Yeah, priorities.
Exactly. There was an amazing blind item article about a blind item. Sorry, my mistake. Did you read this one about the Playboy vault underneath and all the pictures and videos, like 8mm
I know
stuff?
about that.
Oh fuck! I read it, and all the names that were listed, like Dolly Parton, like in her prime, nude in the grotto, like sex tapes with Heather Locklear and fucking Catherine Bach, and I mean a lot of pre-fame stuff, but also during.
Pam Anderson,
James Brown, Bill Cosby, and basically the guy who was invited. He was invited. The premise was there were some Polaroids that belonged to him, but he was just wearing like a goofy shirt on. It wasn't anything horrendous, and this was after Hugh had died, Hugh Hefner, and they took him into this place that it was sealed electronically. So if your phone went through, it would literally wipe out everything on your phone or your laptop or whatever. So you had to confiscate that before you had to drop it off before you went in, and this was perfectly like climate controlled. Like armor plated, everything. And he asked, what's all this shit? And the guys, they were watching him, and the guard were watching him, sort of laughing at him, looking at all this stuff like, oh, the holy grail of like sex tapes. And
celebrity sex tapes. And he asked the guy, what are you going to do with all this? And he said, well, my dad, Hugh Hefner, said that he already, like, the people that are involved in any of the videos, they trusted him to keep that to himself. That's the trust they had in him. Wow. And so that they said, no, you hold on to it, it's fine. He offered to give it back to them just to make sure it doesn't get into the wrong hands or whatever, and they trusted him more than they wanted to be responsible for it, which they could have just destroyed their stuff. And then he said I was never going to sell it. He said he was never going to sell it. It's not meant for public consumption. But they asked him, how much do you think it'd be worth? He said, easily $1 billion in terms of selling it to porn sites, for money. Gosh, you kidding? All those names? I mean, yes. We're talking to people that didn't read the blind item. Yeah. We're talking over like thousands.
Yes.
Of
and
pieces
over decades.
Of material.
Yeah.
Of people that go way back, like Marilyn Monroe and James Dean and all kinds of compromising, homosexual, heterosexual, orgies,
threesomes, and Hugh Hefner's in it. He's directing it. He's there. He's fucking Pamela Anderson sex tapes. I'm like, that's kind of normal. That's very common now, unfortunately. But it was just a fascinating blind item. So I suggest you check that out. It's on Crazy Days and Nights, but the AGC blind site, the main page actually lists the names because they did the legwork for you. that who it has to be based on the hints, and the hints were fantastic. Sports stars, it's unbelievable. Anyway, sorry about that. The next bit, a little digression. Number 5, Howard a bit overeager to hear about Siobhan's fake pussy orgasms, and he had Siobhan on, and this is going against our no whack packer edict.
Yeah.
But Raven definitely wanted to hear some of this stuff on the show. Yeah.
It's out of sympathy for her. Sorry.
Yeah.
That she's a long time whackpacker, and I had to explain, like, to Kayla, who is a newer listener since 2010, exactly who Siobhan was. And she was way back in like the late 80s, I think. She was one of the first transsexuals that Howard ever witnessed or got to view their parts.
Yes.
Trying to be respectful of Siobhan. Anyway, she's lived in kind of like a poverty thing with a lot of cats in New York City and barely scraping by her whole life. So she wants, enough to survive. She's not asking for a lot, like a high pitch Eric or something.
No.
And I'm sorry, I keep saying she.
And they did the same thing.
Howard, and it was giving an update of its life. And now we get to hear how the MPD Wiggy handles her when it comes to real human emotion. And this is why I had you pull this, is because Bob D, I know your ears are going to burn when this is played, but just how horrible it must be to be associated with this man. Yeah. And you've done everything you can for him, and this is what you get in return. So I'll play that retro. I'm going to play these in reverse, but this is the one. I can't even afford to buy socks. Anything else, Robin?
Because I can't even afford to buy socks anymore,
No. Well, all right. Well, hey, I'm glad to hear you're doing okay. And
he let that wash right over him, right past him. Yeah. Didn't matter. It was like he's asking, "Hey, you want some cream in your coffee?"
It's awful.
Yeah. So, but the other clip from that is he was very intent to hear about Siobhan's surgery.
Damn good job, I got to tell you. Everything works, It's pretty amazing
when you say
stuff.
when you say everything works, Siobhan, and clear this up for me, because I've heard so many different stories of transgender people's, vaginas when they have the full surgery. Are you able to have an orgasm or not?
I can have double orgasm.
Okay.
Like,
all right. That's good to know.
Clitoris and holy hole, honey hole.
The level of concentration that he forced himself to have for that is strangely odd for someone who wasn't listening to his Tales of Poverty.
No.
But he was intent to hear about this sex organ operation that he'd already had ages ago. And I'm sure he asked him about it then too. Why else, unless you were thinking about getting it yourself? Go ahead.
He really, okay, I'm trying to avoid any puns here. He really just grilled her on it.
Yeah, it's a common mistake because, well, guys, I'm sorry. Siobhan existed on the show at times when it was a he or a she or both. Like it didn't identify. Now identifies with just gender neutral, I suppose. And anyway, go ahead.
Well, he even asked Siobhan if it still had to put something in its vagina to keep it open,
the stint,
like in the old days. And she kind of blew past it and basically is just like, yeah, everything works. But you're right. The level of concentration he had, he didn't stutter.
Yep.
His words came out right. There was no denture slipping,
Nothing.
No tells of any lying, which is how we always know that something's fake or it's just made up.
Yeah. So the next part of that day that got me angry, and I didn't clip all of it because it just made me furious, was more Ben bashing. And when I hear it now, it's just, it really bothers me. So, but I want everybody to hear this nonsense because I know Bob D will love it.
I hate to say this, and I feel so bad what I'm about to say. My first game with my dad is magical. Like my memory of it was one of the greatest fucking days of my life. My dad took me, the grass was greener than it was on TV. I remember, I think they were playing like the Pirates or something like that. We had the greatest day. He showed me how he It was like one of the best days ever. My first baseball game ever.
Yeah, that sounds like bullshit to me. But
that sounds like a fairy tale.
And I had to add the Gary stuff because as much as we give Bowie shit, I don't deny that he loved his dad and he probably, is a good father to his own kids. And because we're not going to shit on him for everything, guys. I'm sorry. And if you have a good relationship with your parents, that kind of makes the person seem more human, at least more human. And he has to shit on it. Wiggy has to shit on that, of course, right?
Yeah. He even says he calls it bullshit. It's not bullshit. It's just foreign to you, you asshole.
Exactly.
You don't understand what it's like to love your kids, to want to do stuff with them, to enjoy an experience on the field with them, whether they're playing or watching or both. You have no idea.
Right.
Your heart is so closed off and cold. It's ridiculous. I can't even relate to somebody like him, not let alone the money and all, but like the idea that he doesn't have interaction with his kids and never wanted to. The only thing I ever wanted in life, Fillmore, was kids.
Really?
That's it. My dream was to raise kids and have a great time. Once you get through the diaper stuff and all that, and they can talk and walk, it is phenomenal to watch them grow and call them out on stuff and have arguments and have them outwit me now that they're getting older. I've got preteen and a teen. So he's going to start driving. She's coming at me full force.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And there's days, I'm ready to kill those kids. I've had to leave you and go yell at them. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And that's what Wiggy will never get. That's the gift in life he will never get. He doesn't have a chance at it. Robin neither. And what I love is that there's so many people yet in this world that can relate to us and our stories and family and friends and caring. Sure. But wow, when you're dealing with not just Wiggy, but like all these Hollywood types, there's just a lack of that emotional quality of caring and empathy. Okay. It's really hard to find.
This is a serious question that's unusual. Like, I know it might seem stupid to anybody listening already because we all sort of travel along the same highway in terms of the group. But do you really believe that his kids hate him?
Well, if they never knew love from him, then they can't really have anything to measure it with. They can't be let down because they never had it. So you're kind of just stuck with, well, other kids' dads do these things, but my dad does this. So, I don't think they know any worse because they've always had a really good life. I don't feel too bad for them in that respect. That's what they were born into. We all buy a lottery ticket when we're birthed. And what we get is what we get. It's what you make out of it and how you tell your story. Yeah. So I hope they're telling a good story.
Yeah, I hope they have. I
want to hear it someday.
I would pay money to get the Ashley, Deborah, Emily book published about stories of being raised by a narcissist, because on a psychological level, because that fascinates me. That's why the NPD episodes that we do, we did so many of them because there's so many fucking layers of the onion to peel back. And we're not done yet, guys. I mean, that we're just taking a little break. Bob D, by the way, stepping it up with a new microphone. So we're all this. That's what they all the. I'm going to plug Patreon again. Thank you for the Patreon members because you are helping us sound better and by leaps and bounds. So thank you so much for all the existing Patreon subscribers, and hope a bunch of you other people buy a calendar, you cheap fucks, as well. And,
thank you, everybody.
Less than $1 a month, according to Patreon's new discount package. So we'll continue the rest of this clip because I found it very a great contrast between Bowie's experiences and then Wiggy's experience. But also, you got JD the laugh track. JD is a laugh track in this clip. That's all he is for when Wiggy says something.
How dare you?
But why would your father make it a pleasant day? I don't even understand what you're talking about.
My dad,
the theory I have of my dad is that he had like 20 jobs by the time he was 9, and he lived in extreme poverty,
And he was angry about it. I mean, he never went to a psychiatrist to figure it out. So, like, by the time he got a hold of me, he's like, fuck you! Fuck you! You know, like,
nobody ever took me to a game.
No, this is where 79 gets all of his signals crossed. Ben was not angry. He was a doer. He was type A. And he had a hard life, absolutely. There's no question. But he was of that great generation where it's manifest destiny. You make your shit happen.
Yeah.
And your kids don't care about your hardships. You got to get going. You got to do what you got to do. And yes, he worked late hours, but then he spent all weekends with the kids. So, I mean, he was a mensch. Like Ben Stern, absolutely. He's number one in our books.
Absolutely. Ben did what was required of men at that time, and he went above and beyond because of all the things that he gave to Wiggy. And you never hear mention of Ellen.
No.
And what he may have done for her, and I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
But the fact that he always Wiggy rewrites his history against Ben in such an awful manner, it's a hard listen. And you know, Ray signed on to be the mom at home. Mm-hmm. She never had aspirations of a job. No. So they had this agreement. He would work. She would take care of the house.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a decent marriage. They're still together.
Mm-hmm.
60 some years now.
Yeah.
And he just can't put it together. He has no idea what grateful means.
No.
And how lucky he was in counting his blessings.
Yeah.
So that's why we hate him, guys. That's one of
the myriad of reasons. Yeah.
Myriad, yeah.
I don't think there was one aspect of me my father enjoyed. You know, I'm pretty sure.
But it didn't have anything to do with you, Howard. It was, his life that upset him.
Two narcissists using the rest of the world to blame for their fucking problems, and she's got to coax King Baby, like she got to turn him into, it couldn't have been you. It couldn't have been you. It was you. It was you. Ben was disappointed in him. Absolutely. He still loved them the way a father would, but he was an incredible disappointment in every in every facet of the word.
And Robin just gaslights him and eggs him on and just tries to push him off a cliff. And
I think so.
That's what she's done for 35, 40 years. So that's all she knows the script.
This next clip
never goes off script.
This is the shortest clip I ever made. Ben wanted me to be 35 and capable as opposed to 66 now and useless as tits on a bull.
My dad wanted me to be born 35 years old and never act like a child. That was his theory of life.
This is Wiggy. This is projection, like A++ projection.
You called it. That's what I was going to say. That's
he's been doing
going off in my head left and right.
He's been doing it since forever, and this is just more of it. But that clip, by the way, is part of maybe 5 minutes or 40 minutes of a discussion about Ben and Ping Pong Productions and a lot of stuff you guys have already heard. So I didn't want to go into that yet again.
Don't do
filler. Now, everybody, we're taking you into October 7th, and this is where we got most of the clips. So the first one is called number 1. The worst thing about Eddie Van Halen's death is, hey, let's talk about me instead.
I got the news yesterday around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock that Eddie Van Halen had died. I was in the middle of reading about myself. First day yesterday, I was reading about hundreds of millions of dollars in my new contract with SiriusXM. It's all done deal. And
I was going to say, you know what it means to be a millionaire.
Yeah, man, I'm on a...
Bob, I don't know what you're going to make of that. That was 15 seconds in. That was the fastest turnaround I've ever heard based on a memorial in my life, like a would-be memorial. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, David.
Bob D., if you're setting yourself on fire right now, please stop because we need you desperately. This is so awful. On an MPD scale, it's like a 2 kajillion from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
It's so awful. It was, and when he started off about Eddie, and I say Eddie, but I know him, Eddie Van Halen's death was really a big moment for a lot of us Gen Xers. A lot of people are, in their 40s, in their 50s, even in their 30s.
Right.
So he has no emotion in his voice. It's
none.
It's just like la da 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 da,
Yeah.
and then it's all about him, Fillmore.
I was going to say it's like math, but he can't do math, so I have to use another analogy. So yeah, there's another minute in this.
Roll. Well, I was reading this.
You're rolling in dough.
I called my accountant. I said, "Where's my dough? Where is this money?" I have to tell you, when Trump says fake news, you kind of laugh, but it is fake news. I will confess to you, because I've always been honest with the audience.
Yeah, and about that, I want my money back. I want my $2.
I have seen no contract. I have heard nothing about this money. I have no fucking clue where that story came from, but there were two separate stories. Bloomberg News.
They were the first, I think.
They were not. They actually, there's a financial something or other that you have to subscribe to that came out with this news.
Oh, okay.
And everyone was like congratulating me.
Now, one moment here. Now, before we go further into that, there's the one thing I'm going to look up here. I've got it on my screen, is the New York Post from the 7th of October, the same day. And I wanted to read through this because they addressed the Bloomberg article that he's talking about, which I think also was on a paywall. So I wasn't going to fucking pay money to or is Billboard I think Billboard was the paywall. Either way,
it was.
I'm cheap. I subscribe to certain magazines, but I'm not. I'm at my saturation level, so I'm not. I've got all the newspapers I want. I'm not paying to find out about this bullshit. So, shock jock Howard Stern told listeners on Wednesday that he's not close to a new contract with SiriusXM, but would be if he were getting paid a reported $120 million a year. You and I, and just about everybody, believe this is Don Buchwald bullshit being planted out there because they're all taking the story and running with it as if it's real news.
That's his offer. That's what him and Buchwald are offering Sirius.
Yeah.
For him to come in. That's like his high bid. So
Right.
then they'll come in with a counter bid of like, okay, well,
10 million. Take it
yeah.
away.
We've looked at your numbers. And he's like, what numbers? There's no numbers here. I'm like, oh no, we have numbers.
Yeah.
So
and we've discussed at length. They've already paid for 12 years of the replays starting from the last contract. And I'm just going to go real quick before I go back into that article, guys. There's a 2015 one that I'll just to give you an idea of going back into old contracts. This one was released 2015, the 15th of December. So it's always in the end of his contract.
Yes.
He waits to the last moment to announce anything. Stern will stay on the air through 2020. The partners will move into video programming, and Sirius will have access to the host's audio and video library for 12 years. So the end of 2007 is when the replays end. So they own his brand, SiriusXM. They already have him. They don't need him physically. They've got his tapes if they want. So what leverage does he have? So what leverage does he have? None.
Other than being part of the brand, the face. I'm sad to say he is part of the face, even though it's photoshopped to hell, of the company in their ads.
Yeah.
He will give them some kind of credentials as a company because people don't know. It's one of those things like, oh yeah, that guy, but they don't listen. They don't realize how awful the show is. They just know him as a past thing. And they figure, oh, that's just not for me. There must be somebody listening.
Okay.
And yeah, there's like 100 of us on Facebook. So come and join us.
So in this case, guys, I'm going to go back a little. I'm going to go back and forth with these articles. CNN Money from December 9th of 2010 had a bunch of analysts explain about the new deal he signed then, which was way less than, it was a lot of money, but it was way less than the first deal. And so they had different people. Brett Harris, Gabelli and Company. I don't think Howard Stern is as important as he was 5 years ago, especially to Sirius, which has such a broad content lineup. But I do think they want to make sure nobody else has him, and they'd much rather have demand for Howard or just sort of peter out over the next 5 years than have a big newsworthy event that just gives people an excuse to cancel. So a lot of these kind of mirror the thoughts of this stuff is repetitious. It becomes a story every 5 years, and a lot of them say the same thing. It says, okay, when I pull a number out of the air, I'd say he goes from getting 100 million to getting 60 or 70 million, or a 30 or 40% pay cut. I don't think they're going to get the 50% knockdown they got with, say, Martha Stewart, because he is the, quote, Oprah of radio. So he's a big black woman. He's fantastic, but it'll probably be significant. He's going to get a lower total number, but they're not going to disclose it because they don't want to bruise his ego.
No, that's great.
So it says, and then the next person, Barton Crockett, Lazard Capital. I don't know these fucking names, so guys, forgive me if I've bastardized them. It says, we would guess that maybe 1 to 2 million subscriptions came into Sirius 5 years ago because of Howard Stern, and that would be basically close to a wash. They misspelled this on the website. With what they're paying him. If he left and lost all those subscriptions, you'd have to lower subscriptions, but you'd also have to lower revenue and costs, which would also be close to a wash in terms of earnings. So because of the money they would have had to pay him anyway at that time, even if you lose the subscriptions, you don't have to pay him. So it's not like you're losing money per se.
It doesn't add up to me. What they pay him, even though it includes staff like Robin and Fred and Gary, right. I still have a hard time believing, but I'm really bad with corporate stuff. I'm a worker cog, and so I'm not a business-minded person here. But in my opinion, this money that this company throws around to Howard and its executives, it's highly inflated.
Yeah, well, that's it, and they never corroborate it or deny it. They deny certain things, and they don't. And other times they don't. For the one from 2015, it says, "Okay, this morning I'm very pleased to announce and excited that we'll be here for the next 5 years." Stern told his audience. Okay. The deal was part of a broader 12-year agreement under which he will continue to host blah, blah, blah for the next 5 years. It includes plans for SiriusXM to launch its first venture into video programming with Stern. The video plans will be announced at a future date. It will include video of the Howard Stern, as well as the Howard Stern archives and special programming, the company said. It's 2020. That app is now just YouTube channel. And, is there a video app on
Yes, there is.
Okay. So
I did my research on this one.
But it's not what he was going on about 360, which he claimed was going to be, well, you choose the camera angle. And I'm like, well, where's the behind the wig cam? We don't get that one. So that never happened. No. That was bullshit.
It's across the whole Sirius gamut of channels. So everything from Hits 1 through like Jenny McCarthy's show through BPM. Beats per minute, the electronic music channel, they all have their own videos. I kind of took just a general survey of what's out there, and Howard has a ton of videos. He's got snippets of musical stuff. A lot of the stuff they show on Saturdays for their music thing, either unplugged or just studio guests. And then they have, even today, I watched Sal's first time on the show with Gary and how he became a member of the show or associated with the show. So they do post those things, but it's really just like a minute or two. It's not like interviews. You can get the whole interview. I don't really hear people discussing any of that or posting any of that, which we would technically see if, in this day and age. So, the video goes for the whole company. It's not just Howard alone.
Yeah, it's not specifically him. So again, but that's this is I'm going to read a couple of the Reddit comments from a year ago. It talks about it says the title is, "I love how over 2 years of promoting Howard 360 has become short videos of fucking show clips on the shitty Sirius app. I'm blown away of how awesome it is. Totally lives up to the hype." So there's one guy says okay, remember when Howard was saying they're developing brand new, never before used technology to get Howard 360 up and running? Cut to a website that rarely works and 2-minute clips of shows from 2002, even though it would literally be easier to just upload the entire show. Think of the man hours spent trying to chop around Artie's existence, which is 100% true.
Absolutely.
There's another guy posts, pretty much anything Howard has done beyond the core radio show has flopped or never come to fruition. His Channel 9 show wasn't making money, cost versus return, good ratings but not worth the investment. His CBS show got slaughtered in its time slot. The Private Parts soundtrack was not a hit, Howard even mentioned once he was surprised it wasn't. The movie got positive reviews, but was not a huge hit in general. Howard Stern, the early years, I think he means the high school years, was never produced despite the claim he'd been working on it for years. The E! Show died when he went to Sirius. Son of the Beach was a total flop. Howard has a big audience, but never seemed to realize it was an audience of convenience. Yes, some people were fanatics that listened to every second. Most were just people that put him on while they were in the car.
Well, that brings up a great question. Now that people are working from home, and how has that affected his numbers? Is that something I would think has gone down? That he often says people listen any time of the day now. He's even defended this objection I have about COVID killing his show because people just have too many other important things to do in life, like school their kids and find time to work and all the regular stuff and make money. So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I really, I'm fingers crossed 100% that he's just taken a total nosedive this year on ratings, and they know that.
I'm certain of it, and they have that in their back pocket. So his brand is only worth so much. Every year, it's just diminishing returns. One more post I'll read real quick, and then we'll go back into the thing. My wife was QA. I think it was quality assistance or quality control, basically. That's what that acronym means. For the team that developed the new Sirius app and can confirm that Sirius is a cheap-ass company that's outsourcing as much code as possible. She was constantly frustrated with the shitty management of the entire project and couldn't wait for it to finish. Apparently, their office in Dallas is a nasty little den of Indians and neckbeards, all constantly looking for other jobs. She's still working with Sirius, but on new head units. Maybe they'll find some way to shoehorn a novelty H100 feature into GM's 2020 lineup. So,
QA is quality assurance.
Is it quality assurance? Okay, my bad.
That's a standard corporate term.
Insiders say, this is from the 2015 article, insiders say that Stern's salary isn't as much as Sirius XM pays out because of how much it goes towards expenses for the show. And then they bring up the bonuses he made in the first contract, which is irrelevant to this. Like, it's, a lot of it says
litigated a long time ago.
It says here, while SiriusXM won't disclose how many of its 29 million subscribers tune into Stern, analysts view the host as an important retention tool. Indeed, scores of fans have taken to social media and called the show to declare they'd cancel the service without Stern. In 2015, not happening. Sorry. And it only got worse.
I'm sorry. This whole business model in this day and age isn't going to work. So until we get life back to normal after COVID, I just see this as like a sinking ship, and they are scrounging for when things start going bad, companies a lot of times will just start making big moves, all over, like chess moves all over the place, but in the end they mean nothing and they all end up in the same place, but it makes them look good, like they're trying to do something. Meanwhile, they're just shuffling money from one executive to another.
Absolutely.
And they're advertising these 3 companies that they bought, which we'll get into. So I think it's a strange time, the stock market, this company, this contract. I mean, it couldn't be a worse time for him to have to negotiate.
Oh, yes,
so
absolutely.
I think it's, Sirius has the upper hand here, and it's just a matter of time until we see how it plays out.
That's right. So I'm going to read a little bit more of this, and then because the reason why we wanted to wait to get on this was because we wanted the subsequent articles to be released. So, for example, there was his contract talks have created months of speculation that the shock jock could retire or seek to move to a rival like Spotify, which recently shelled out close to $200 million for Bill Simmons' sports podcast firm, The Ringer, and more than $100 million for the exclusive rights to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Now. I don't know Bill. I know Bill Simmons. I just didn't know he had this. I've never heard of The Ringer because I've got my own things that I've been listening to for ages now when it comes to sports. If his rights are owned by SiriusXM for the replays, he can't go to Spotify anyway. So that's a retarded notion.
Couldn't he go there with new content?
With new content, absolutely. But I'm sure Sirius has him in some kind of a holding deal. Because you don't pay, like, what's the draw if your guy is on another platform completely alien to yourself and you've still got his archives? It make no sense. So I'm sure the Spotify thing is nonsense, and this is exactly what it says in the article. Bloomberg reported Tuesday that Stern's team had preliminary quote talks with Spotify, which didn't get very far, and sources close to Spotify confirmed that the Swedish streaming giant is not in a bidding war for Stern and has no plans to poach him. And it says here there was never a serious pursuit of Stern by Spotify, said a source familiar with Spotify's strategy. Reps for Stern didn't immediately return a request for comment. Spotify declined to comment. So that was from the New York Post, which loves to fucking take shots at him.
Oh, they do. That's great.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a great analogy for you. So, like, Sirius has him till 2027, his archives.
Yep.
Right. So if he goes, he can't be spreading his ass cheeks for everybody.
Nope.
With old content. He's got to keep that at Sirius, but he can go do new interviews. Somewhere else.
Yeah.
On a different platform, whether it's Spotify or, a third party that we don't even know about.
Right.
Then he can give us that, but he can't use clips of anything from the past.
No.
Until after that 2027, which is an odd number to me.
Right.
Because if it was 2026, it would be 5 years from, say, another contract this year. And that would time up better. But who knows?
I believe
I want to see what else you have clipped.
It's speculation. Yes, and we'll get through all of that. But it was speculation based on also, like, people we've been talking about it, and Sam in other shows we've made noises about it. They'll never refute the numbers that they get thrown out because it makes him look like he's hot shit. But in actual fact, he must have taken a huge pay cut each contract because of declining numbers and subs and what have you. Like, they couldn't promise him all that. Anyway, we'll continue the 15 seconds of this clip and go into the rest.
Yeah, I got how I found out about it was I got a text from a friend who said, you already know this, but I just thought I'd send it to you anyway. And I thought, what is he talking about?
So they're talking about their deal. Like, does he have a deal? And this continues. This next clip, deal or no deal?
Yeah, listen, I'm ready to take that deal if I can get it. It sounded awesome.
Yeah, they were comparing your salary to some CEOs, and you're way up there.
Yeah, I beat all of them.
On the CEO level.
In the imaginary CEO scale, because this is unbelievable. So first I called my accountant. I said, wow, because he sent me an article about it. I said, yeah, this is all great, but it's not true. I mean,
okay, so he's stuttering a bit. Who knows what they already have planned? It sounds to me like they've already, in my opinion, they've already got some kind of lock-in for him, like the offer. He's got an offer, but it's low, and he's not going to disclose it. They're not going to disclose it. He will stay on, but it'll be for even like an hour less per. That was my original. A year ago, I said that's what's going to happen. An hour less per day.
Okay, I'd buy that. Or
3 days a week.
Yeah, it's going to be limited from what it already is.
Yeah.
I just noticed the off the charts giddiness in Robin, and even Howard gets some lift in his voice on this, which, when he's talking about Siobhan not being able to buy socks, he does not have that excitement in his voice.
No, he doesn't.
This is his bidding war. We're witnessing it live.
But the GIF, I think I posted on the thread, the thread that it was pertinent to, from Dumb and Dumber, when Jim Carrey's when Lloyd goes up to the bar and sticks out his ass, and he tells Harry, putting out the vibe. He's just like, look, nobody's paying attention to him. His ass is stuck off. That's the equivalent. If like this contract fluff shit would be the equivalent of that if it was a GIF.
My agent Don.
The paperwork.
I called our agent Don, and I said, Don, do we have any kind of paper or anything I can read? He goes, no, we don't. There's no truth to this. And we were both kind of baffled by it. But
yeah,
the good news is, according to, and again, I don't follow the stock market at all.
Are you following the newspaper and telling us good news from the newspaper?
Yeah, well, the good news was that the stock, according to the newspaper, went up on the announcement that I had this deal.
Okay, yeah, which is just something that Sirius press released to try to change the stock. Like,
how convenient.
Yeah, isn't it? So it sounds to me like under the table, they're like, they know they're going to get lowballed by Sirius. They'll take whatever they can fucking get, if they get anything. But gun to your head right now, do you think he comes back? Like, you have to choose. It's got to be one or the other. Do you think he's coming back?
There's my heart versus my head. My head says yes. My heart says no. In a begging, pleading on my knees voice.
Yeah. I think you think he's
I know
coming
him
back?
too well.
Yeah.
I really do. He's such a fucking narcissist, and he can't go without having a platform to voice his whatever with the world.
I agree.
And these people have nothing. His staff is not leaving him. No one's going anywhere.
Except Ronnie,
Yeah,
maybe.
they might live in Alabama or Maine or Florida or Las Vegas, but they're still promising to do the show on the computer. And that's what the world's coming to.
Well, do you think that's exactly it? It's just basically going to be, well, because of COVID, they've realized now that they don't need to be in studio. So what's going to happen with that fucking studio?
100%. That's why he's going to get less money, because there's no overhead in the studio.
There you go. So
bingo, bango.
It would make perfect sense. And you're right. Because of his narcissism, he can't not have a forum. And he's not going to go on Twitter, which is a disaster for him. That's not a forum. That's like Scrubs. And he's not going to create his own channel because he doesn't want to spend a nickel. So no way.
He doesn't want to do any work. Everything's set up for him in place.
Yep.
It's just what are his expenditures? Seriously, like
just
cat litter,
wine,
potatoes. I don't know.
Wig glue.
Xannies for beef.
Adderall. Yeah, exactly. And almonds and frozen strawberries, man. Like that stock I bought stock in almonds. Blue Diamond went through the roof yesterday.
And I said, well, that's good because I do have stock in the company. It was an astronomical article that I was getting all this money, and I've signed I'm close to signing a brand new 5-year deal, and I can tell you, it is not true. It is just not true.
You own Sirius.
I know. I mean, I was like reading it, and I went, then I read it in the New York Post, and I read it on the Daily Mail, and
okay, so I can't play much more than that, but it's more of the same shit. But the next one's real fast. It's Adam Levine, Pelican Negotiator. It's only 20 seconds.
Here, I got an email. I don't think you'll mind me sharing this with you. I woke up this morning and Adam Levine of Maroon 5 was the first one to write me. He goes, if what the papers are saying is true, I hate you. That's so awesome, you rich fuck.
Now,
I thought,
whether it's true or not, like crowbarring Adam Levine's name into it as if that's going to get you your deal that you want, like this that you've press released, bullshit. Go ahead.
Quick question for the chat. Bob D, is that a real email or a fake email? Did Adam write that or did Howard write that?
Right.
Just curious on your thoughts.
That's a good question. Number 4, Desperation Smells Like Almonds.
To my beautiful, loyal fans who always stick with me, I want you to know, with peace and love, you'll be the first ones to know if I have a deal and I am staying at Sirius.
Peace and love.
But I am telling you with 100% truth, with my hand over my heart, I don't have anywhere near a deal. I don't know what the fuck and where this comes from. I was speculating that.
Lies.
He's been doing this whole negotiating on air since the fucking dawn of time. So I think there is a deal in place, but it's for literally peanuts or almonds. And he just doesn't want to say, because if the numbers really did come out, he'd be embarrassed as shit.
Also, it would constitute insider trading, and he could possibly be hurting people's earning financials for the year.
Yep.
By people with the knowledge of what's going to happen and who stand to profit the most, who have the most invested in the company.
Yeah.
Also, he's always held tight on this announcement till the end of the year, when nobody can question him on it, nobody can call in, or staff can't even get a passive aggressive email in if they want.
That's right. Yeah, and the staff Christmas party has already gone down. There's no scuttlebutt. You just leave, right?
You're reading my mind. I was just about to say, and by the way, staff, sorry, but no Christmas party this year. Is really, really upset. Not, and you're on your own. So enjoy the tin of popcorn you get.
Howard just sent a beautiful note to COVID-19 for saving him some scratch on the Christmas party.
This. Loves COVID.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go skip straight ahead to the next clip, which is In a Lather about Edward Van Halen.
I remember going to see, I never saw the David Lee Roth version of Van Halen, but I went to see
This is what I don't fucking understand. There is only one real Van Halen. I like the fucking Sammy Hagar years. Some of the songs I do actually like. But if you had a chance, and he was DJing at that time, they were huge with David Lee Roth, and one of the best concert draws, like one of the best concert acts of all time in that heyday. How would you not even get like a radio, like the US Festival back in 81 or 82, which was huge? It's the videos on YouTube. They were touring constantly. How would he have not seen them at that time, even as a promo?
Even backstage, you know, if he doesn't want to be out with the common folk, he could still stand backstage and watch this amazing show. I watched whatever year they toured North America with David Lee. I went. I think it might have been 2008. 2009.
Yeah, that was the one or 2007.
Whatever it was. I went down to Philly with a friend. We saw it. We had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Great show. Played everything you wanted to hear. So it was like a bucket list. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And for Wiggy to say this after he's had these guys on the show so many times back in the day.
Yeah, you cannot be a fan if you didn't go to see them in their heyday. I mean, no offense to Sammy Hagar, he was great in Montrose. He even some of his solo stuff is decent, and I like Sammy Hagar as a person. He seems like a really nice guy. But there's no comparison between the two. So anyway,
I love Sammy, just for the record, but David always had my heart.
Yep, Diamond Dave all the way.
When Sammy first joined up. And I remember I just wanted to be Eddie Van Halen. I was like, man, this is the coolest fucking guy. First of all, good-looking dude. I mean, I'm a dude, but, you know, I always said women want to sleep with him and guys want to be him.
And by the way, Edward Van Halen, he was not a sex symbol. Like, this is the thing I don't understand. No. He was adored as a player, as a musician, yeah, for sure. But Diamond Dave was the heartthrob.
Dave was the draw, yeah.
Wasn't there that famous?
Eddie was number two.
There's that famous Chaps photo of David Lee Roth looking in the mirror that was in like a shitload of women's rooms, you know, with his ass cheeks hanging out. And I mean, I only know it because Dave put it in his book, Crazy from the Heat, which is a great read if you can find it. He released it in '95 after they did that ill-fated reunion thing where they just, for the greatest hits album, they put out a couple of songs with they'd already gotten rid of Sammy or they were about to, and they got the Gary Cherone guy from Extreme, but then they had Dave sing two new songs which were just in the vault, and they were one of them was awesome. Me Wise Magic is just classic Van Halen groove. Anyway, so he was lathering up about Eddie Van Halen.
He had that like kind of muscular body, like a skinny muscular rock star body,
like a wider kind of.
Yeah, had great hair.
I never thought of this like Eddie Van Halen like that. To me, it was guitar first, songs second, like or like interchangeable. Anyway.
Yeah, I just that music always got me. And Dave always got the attention first, so.
The fucking harmonies. Anyway, so the next one, number 6, I was just writing Eddie a note.
Memories. My saddest memory is, and I'm the biggest schmuck on the planet. I told you, if you read my book, I was in no condition to be friends with anyone, but many, many years ago,
still aren't.
Many years ago, Eddie would reach out to me on a regular basis. He'd call me a couple of times a week at home, later in the evening. And, you know, I was doing morning radio 5 days a week, a lot of pressure on me. And, but he would call me to talk.
Like, what a fucking slog to have Eddie Van Halen call me. What an asshole, knowing how busy I was, getting driven into work every day.
And seriously, if he really wanted to learn the guitar, who better to have as a friend than Eddie Van Halen? Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, it was pretty documented. It was pretty well documented. Eddie was a fan of the show, actually. So it wasn't like, I wouldn't have been unheard of for him to do that.
Fuck. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't remember the gist of any of the conversations. I just remember them being very long, Eddie doing a lot of talking. And the reason I don't remember is I wasn't really interested in anyone else. I had real deep fucking problems. And I just saw it as like, wow, this is really cool. I'm on the phone with Eddie, but Jesus Christ, I have shit I got to do, and I can't sit and listen to this stuff all night. He was looking for a friend, and I wasn't a good friend. I was not.
Bob D, that you have at it, sir. This is like, we've already chopped off the fucking antelope's head, and you and the rest of the lion pride can just devour it. Your discretion. What an
Fuck
asshole.
you, Howard. Fuck you.
Yeah.
How dare you? He is a treasure, and you treat him that way? What is wrong with you? Someone needs to slap you silly. Like in the movie Airplane, you know when they're walking down the aisle and they keep beating up the woman? That's what I think Wiggy needs.
By the way, that may be my favorite gif of all time. The second slap that Leslie Nielsen hits her with before he walks off. All right, so let me play a little bit more of that.
And it's a regret of mine. I remember talking. The only thing I remember talking was I was asking about his cancer and he had this nutty theory. I thought it was nutty, but Eddie smoked like a chimney. And I said to him, Eddie, why don't you quit smoking? And he said, no. It has not, and now a quarter of his tongue had been removed from oral cancer. And he said, no, it's not the cigarettes. He goes, I keep a metal pick in my mouth.
Okay, and I don't know if I need to go through much more of this, but basically he explains how Eddie would talk to him about it, and there's no who knows, and it's irrelevant now because the guy's dead, unfortunately. But you don't cut off a piece of your tongue because there's metal in it. He was a lifelong smoker. Zappa was a lifelong smoker. Carson was a lifelong smoker, and they all died of pretty much, one got emphysema, two of them got cancer as a result. Like, you do the math, guys. Yep.
I just want to give a heartfelt rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
And my condolences to Valerie, Wolfie, and the bands.
Yeah.
The band members.
Yeah, because apparently he and Eddie were kind of chatting, text messaging. They were not on the outs anymore, and it'd been tumultuous. I imagine he got kind of clean finally near the end, which is kind of yeah, I think so. Trying to, and so you could tell Michael Anthony and Sammy did a little tribute. It's on YouTube. I don't remember where they were, somewhere tropical, and they were playing as a tribute to Eddie, and it was actually kind of nice. It was poignant.
Thank you.
So,
I will check that out.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So the next one is called the Kaplan Report, and this we're going to go into as much as we can. Just one sec. Let's see what we got here. Now, what happened basically, guys, they were piling on Ronnie for presumably that they think he's a Trump supporter or that he's voting for Trump, because he never actually said who he's voting for, but apparently they had some kind of drinking Zoom party, and
they have things
were
on Zoom.
happy. So things were said, I guess, and everybody started piling on Ronnie, and a lot of people felt bad for Ronnie based on what I read.
Right. Well, Ronnie has gotten older. I mean, back in the day, he was kind of an asshole and hated by a lot of people, but I think he's won us over with what he's been put through on this show and worn down with.
Yep.
So yeah, there was a lot of sympathy for Ronnie, and his voice is different. It's not the Ronnie voice we're used to. And I don't know if it's age or his cat dying or that he's just sad that the show is coming to an end or he's moving away. Something's going on with him big in life.
Yes.
He's very cryptic.
Yes, and so he announced he was going to retire earlier this year, but then COVID, whatever it means, like him and Stephanie couldn't go to. The plan was to move to Vegas, and she's going to open up a veterinarian clinic, a pet clinic or whatever. And he's going to. I mean, he's 70 years old, for fuck's sake. He should have been retired ages ago, but he probably still needs to work money wise, which is really an indictment on how cheap Wiggy is, because. I mean, someone could say, well, maybe he's bad with his money, whatever. Who knows? But I tend to. And he also had alimony. He divorced his
right. He is divorced.
so he might have some payments and who knows to make. So either way, it sounded like a gang of. It's like when you're kicking a guy, like in the Karate Kid when the guys are trying to hold Johnny back from beating up Daniel Moore.
Yeah.
And he's saying, "I'll tell you when he's had enough." And there used to be a fun when they would gang up on people on the show, but it somewhere down the line became nasty. And pointless. So you guys judge for yourself.
I think anybody who supports Trump is supporting somebody who stood in front of the American people and said there were good Nazis. I can't denounce white supremacy. Proud Boys, stand by. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the other issues are.
Did you know that Jason is thinking of ending his friendship with you over this?
No, I didn't, but that's his prerogative.
It's not ending a friendship. It's not
really
having warm
how are
feelings
you
for you
going
anymore.
to tell how Ronnie voted?
I won't. Look, there's no time. But if Ronnie comes out and says, yeah, I voted for Trump, I'm a Trump supporter.
Okay, I had to cut that off exactly at 30 seconds, but you wanted to say something, Sam? Sorry,
obviously,
Raven. whatever your
how
name is.
dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love you, Sam. Jason obviously doesn't stand very high on Ronnie's tier of friends because he's like, oh well, okay, fuck them. I don't give a shit. And it's just like he doesn't care.
He was very nonchalant about it, wasn't he? Yeah.
And I think anybody would be because Jason's such a fake asshole.
Yeah, and I know that he and Ronnie, like they're all the back office guys, generally got along. And Ronnie, I hate to say it, but I like Ronnie. He seems like a mensch. He seems like as guys, I'm sure his ex-wife would beg to differ, and maybe a lot of strippers would want to kill him. But go ahead.
God help me, I was watching some old videos today, and one was Ronnie's birthday party at Scores, and this was, I want to say 2002.
Okay.
So we're talking 18 years ago, and the man, let's just do 20 from 70. Let's say he was 51.
51, yeah.
And the way he talked and how smug he was,
Yeah.
I could see why he would rub people the wrong way.
Completely.
But you know what? The man was living. He was doing his passion. He was having fun.
Right.
Meeting guys, meeting girls, whatever that bull crap means. But I believe he was being authentic.
Yeah.
He was a character who was just an exaggerated character of himself,
Right.
of who he wished he could have been while he was married to his first wife.
Yeah.
And then fell into this lifestyle after begging Howard to come in and get out of the limo, the prom limo,
Yeah.
so that he could hobnob with celebs and usher them in and out with his 5'6" stature that is so amazing. But yes, Ronnie has become someone endearing. He's held down a long-term relationship. He has animals that he just adores. So you win me there if you're an animal lover. And he's a lot nicer talking about women nowadays. Like back in the day, he was such a pig. But
Right.
he's warmed and won us over.
Right.
And it was 100% across the thread. I didn't find any Ronnie haters. If there are, speak up, guys. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a very odd day, but listen to his voice in these clips.
Mm-hmm.
You become now a racist to me. Even if you're a Jew, you're a self-hating Jew. I don't know any other way to look at it.
Well, if you're a self-hating Jew, you're self-loathing. It's not racism at that point, stupid. And again, I'm not supporting. I'm not telling you guys one way. I'm Canadian. It doesn't matter what I think. So it's completely irrelevant. But anyway, just so you hear not Nowicki, what's his name? Wilding gets in on it, and Gary eventually, and Sal comes in. So I think Richard even you hear from him. So I didn't clip the entire thing because it was about an hour.
Oh, it was a big pile one. I think Ralph comes in too at the very end.
Big time. Yep.
And I feel really bad for you, Jason, that you can't live with somebody who is racist. Because black people have done it all the time.
How about your boss, who's fucking really racist? The next clip is called "Smells Like Bullshit," but have your say, QFers. And it's a reason why it sounded like a bit put on, this clip. It's about 2 minutes long, and I wasn't completely convinced that Ronnie wasn't in on it, just going, like, he's voting for Biden and this is all nonsense anyway. You know what I mean? Faux drama.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know.
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
This stuff.
Yeah.
I'm here to be entertained. I don't want to hear political talk.
Well, yeah.
On my entertainment show.
So yeah, and that's where it seemed like this sounds like manufactured horseshit. But then there was the tone of his voice and the way he was speaking, as you said, it did maybe there's credence either way.
I don't have any control over this guy.
You know what I'm glad of? I'll tell you what I'm glad of.
Go ahead, Ron. That's what I'm waiting.
I'm retiring from this whole deal at the end of the year.
Is that official?
That's what I'm glad of.
Oh,
Is that you mean you
That's
hate us all? What are you talking about?
You're retiring because of wait a second. This is a big.
I don't want to work. I don't want to work at a fucking place where I'm not liked for who I vote for, and I didn't even say who I'm voting for, but already.
I got to stop it there. And Raven gave me a thumbs up for that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Robin, did you hear her? So you hate us all. It comes right back to her in her MPD.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
Oh, it's about me. You hate me, or you hate us, like me and Howard.
Yeah.
And he explained himself pretty well here, pretty eloquently for Ronnie.
Yep.
That he didn't stutter. He was just like, look, if this is the way it's going to be, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around you guys. And everybody jumps on the train that he's voting one way, but they just don't like. Okay, let me backtrack. I don't think any of this is really, no one cares about. It's just something they're using to fill time. So they have to pick a side and play a character. And we don't have a Scott DePace. We don't have guys in the past who were outspoken on the opposite side.
Yes.
So Ronnie's on an island. And I think he pulls Benji into it, saying Benji votes like him. But I could be wrong. I think Jason threw him under the bus for that one. We'll see.
I think so.
Go ahead.
Yep. And the other thing is real quick. If you imagine, like, it's not like it was in the old days, and now with COVID, he doesn't even have to drive people around. He's kind of by himself, or he's with Stephanie, and people's perspectives change when certain things like this. Well, it is a pandemic, guys, whether you want to admit it or not, a worldwide pandemic, and people can change their opinions on things in a dime. Howard has to make him feel like shit if he's saying you're leaving me, like everybody else who leaves. That's another kind of byproduct of this whole discussion. He's got to try to make him feel as shitty as possible on the way out the door. Like, it's not, don't hit your ass on the way out the door. Let us slam the door in your face on your way out the door. Everybody. Yeah. Scott Einziger, Stuttering John, Isaac Mark, just about anybody who left. Jackie, absolutely.
Billy West.
Yeah.
You got me that I'm voting for Trump and that you're already not going to be my friends or whatever, and that's fine. I don't need that.
I don't.
No, you did say that. That's what you basically
said.
saying.
If I found out you voted for Trump again,
and that's what Ralph is saying, and whatever. I don't need this bullshit, dude.
All right, so go hang out with racists.
How about hanging here for the rest of us?
Yeah.
But Ronnie, if you're not voting for Trump, then you don't need to leave because then no one will be mad at you.
No, but they're assuming right away. They're assuming.
Okay. The other thing is, guys, and it's the pylon. First of all, when's the last time he hung out with Robin anyway? It's COVID. No one's hanging out with anybody. So what is the fucking, it makes the most sense to retire if you're in his position. That's the way I see it. If he's financially able to. So, I just, my heart went out for Ronnie for some strange reason. Call me retarded. I don't know.
I thought that Robin sounded a little bit desperate. Like, how dare you more heavy lifting on this goddamn show because you're not going to be here. Even though Ronnie kind of agreed later on to do like a Zoom call, like a guest appearance.
Sure.
From wherever he moves to, probably Vegas. But
yeah,
she's on him.
Yep.
And she's definitely got Howard's back on this. So
there's
I guess we'll finish
flying
this
monkey,
a little bit.
Flying monkey's got to fly.
That's
right. You can fix this all. You can fix this all right now and say, I'm not voting for Trump, so don't be mad at me.
You ever notice how Biden supporters aren't ashamed to say they're voting for Biden? It's always the one side that's like, I don't know.
They don't get threatened with death.
Yes, a lot of them do.
Oh my God.
Jeff the Drunk just told you he did.
Whatever, dude.
So, Ronnie, this is big news. Ronnie, this is big news. I support you no matter who you vote for. And yet you're...
I do too.
Now listen to that horse shit. Like, Howard, hey, I'm the good guy. I'm doing fine. One thing I want to ask you, growing up, did you recall, as I did, even though in Canada it wasn't nearly as volatile when if you declared who you voted for, do you remember growing up and being told by either of your parents you don't talk politics, you just don't, like, just a general rule, like, don't ask people who they voted for because it was rude?
Yes, it was. Money, politics, and religion were just not good conversation pieces. It was ostensibly because they were just filled with landmines anyway. And if whether a person was atheist or like if they were Muslim, which back in the day wouldn't have happened so often because there were far fewer Muslims where I lived. But just the idea of someone voting a certain way, you just didn't talk about it. It seemed to be in bad taste, I suppose. It was an etiquette thing. My mother taught me, like, just don't get deep and heavy into conversation with adults because it's just not right. She never really like gave a side or anything. She just said it's not right. Kids don't do that. Right. And in my house, it was just whatever mom said went. So
same way you don't ask a woman her age. You don't talk about.
Yeah,
You're just
I support him more because I know his vote doesn't count.
You know?
What is that, Ron?
You're just two people in a whole crew of haters, obviously.
Oh.
That's him.
Don't play the victim. It's not about us hating you.
Dude, I'm not
I don't hate you, Ronnie. It's just, it hurts me. It hurts me that you would support someone.
I'm glad it hurts
Good?
you.
Okay, well, then you're a piece, and I guess it makes sense you're voting for Trump.
Right.
Now, this is the thing. I fucking hate Wilding with a passion. He's another Canadian, but I don't have loyalty. Hey, you're a Canadian. I'm Canadian. Let's go Canada together. I don't, there's such nonsense.
No, it's because he's an air whore.
Yeah, well, that also, but Ronnie doesn't have a history with fucking Wilding. What does he give a fuck about him? Jason, yeah, Ronnie? Okay, fine. JD, yeah, fine. But not Wilding. Yeah, go ahead.
Wilding cuts in on Ralph time. So any in that Ronnie had with Ralph is gone because now Wilding's taken that place and filled that. And JD doesn't call Ronnie, which we found out too, who he thought was a buddy of his. Apparently JD has Asperger's and autism, and he's all about himself too. He's another narcissist.
Yeah, El
with
Creepo.
Other additional disabilities.
Yeah. His intern panty collection has got to be like hit since there are no interns anymore. JD's dirty intern panty collection is gone. Ronnie sounds pissed. This is a long clip. I'll see how much we can do of this.
A lot happened just now. We started out talking about your favorite subject, porn. It was fun.
And fucking Sarah Sanders.
And fucking Sarah Sanders and pussy. And somehow
Spooching on her eye.
It led to you retiring at the end of the year, which is not that far away. We're talking about December.
Well, you turned the whole show around right after my thing. So I don't know why, but you did. So
you turned the whole show around.
Yeah, it went to all politics after I finished my package.
So and Ronnie's right. Ronnie, and that's one reason why I loved him back in the day. He wasn't generally afraid to throw shit at people if he had to. And he also was I think Ronnie was a straight shooter. I know he's good friends with Richie Wilson. I love Richie Wilson. And I think a lot of the Howard TV guys, even DePace, who seemed like a bit of a doorknob sometimes the way he would argue, and Mike Ganji and Brian Phelan, they all seem like guys you could get a beer with and just have a fucking blast with. And that's why a lot of people, were sticking up for them and still do in a lot of ways. But you could see why Ronnie's, he's human.
Yeah,
that's the appeal.
If you push him hard enough, he's got no filter.
No.
And so here, maybe he was lured in thinking that he was going to talk about some porn awards.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's a whole 8 people on him at the same time going against politics, which Howard constantly says, I don't want to talk about politics. But then you got another 30 to 45 minutes of it.
Oh, yeah.
After he makes that statement, just like when he says he's going to end the show and then he does a plug and then it's a call and another call.
Yeah.
And then it's a fake fight and a parody.
Yeah. So. And Bowie couldn't be happier than this because it's not on him for a change.
Yeah.
It's just,
deflect totally.
Yeah, exactly.
He just I guess with Ralph calling in, he took that call.
No, that's not Ralph. What happened? A woman called Ralph. Me. Yeah. I think a woman called and said something.
Yeah, something about the hotel business.
Yeah, she said she wants us to travel, and I said, well, that can't happen until we have government. And then mistakenly, I let Benji say I'm for big government, and then everything went crazy. And it led to you quitting the show.
Now, but guys, if I let you hear the entire 40 minutes, if we went and did that, you'd lose your mind because number one, there's the everybody's screaming over each other. It's Zoom. It really was unlistenable. Even if you were a fan, you'd have to realistically say, this is a headache. I'm getting a headache listening to this because they're all talking over each other. So, yeah.
It's a battle royale of awfulness, of a barrage on my ears.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the big headbutt Ronnie gives Leaping Wiggy Poffo. But just bear with it.
And hating all of us.
Did I say it was
By the way,
I'm retiring? I had planned on retiring anyway. So,
let me understand what that means. In other words, let's say
we'll just make it sooner. That's all.
Okay, so Ron, let me ask you a question. In other words,
at the end of the year.
Okay, can I ask a question?
When were you retiring?
What are you retiring from?
That's the question. In other words, we're all stuck in our homes, right?
let's say the end of the year comes. You're talking about December, whatever, the last day
Whatever
of
the
September
end
that
of
we have
December
to check.
is. Yeah.
Okay, let's slight break, guys. Back into it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. 30 days have September, April, I don't know. but let's say the 31st, 30th, whatever. Let's say that day comes. Now, you're still stuck in your house, but you make the announcement you're retired. So you're no longer on the show. Now you're stuck on your house, and you don't even have that anymore.
Okay, that's fine.
I was good, but
Okay.
he's asking, is that going to be okay with you? Or
Yeah,
could you
no,
still
it'll be
do
fine.
this?
No, it'll be fine.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
You're
Now, doesn't that sound to you exactly like, are you sure? Like when you got a gun to someone's head, you sure you want to go that direction?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you don't want to think
Your
another
name-
way? Wink, wink.
Your name is about to be fucking mud around here. Doomed. You're gonna
Exactly.
get beaten up if you ever come back here.
Yep. We're
If we
halfway-
let you back here.
halfway through, guys.
definitely leaving at the end of December.
Leaving at the end of December.
We're
Even
not
if
going to
you're
have
just
you on the
sitting
show
in
in
your house.
January.
No.
You're going to sit in your house, not work.
I'll sit in the house, but I don't know if it'll be here.
Okay, but
Ronnie,
wherever
can
You
I jump in
haven't
a
been
second,
able
Howard?
to find a house.
Ronnie, you and I spoke the other day. I won't get into what we talked about, but this seems like a very rash decision.
What a fucking idiot. He was talking about retiring at the beginning of
Yeah.
the year. This is nonsense. What the fuck are they going on about?
Billy's fucking scrambling. I love it. It's great.
Yeah,
He's got no arsenal of argumentative skills at all.
No, and the other thing is, if you leave, I'm going to take more shit. please don't leave me. Like, it used to be him and
Yes.
Stuttering John, and now it was him and Ronnie, and now it's just him.
That you're getting a cutoff date. Do you really feel this way?
After this morning, yeah. Yeah.
And you don't want to cool off and think about it?
I don't need to be in an environment where I'm not liked, okay? Because like I said, I didn't even say who I was voting for, but already I voted for Trump, according to everybody in the back office, with your fucking, whatever you take your fucking voting back there or whatever.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Sam. I keep saying that because we record so often. I'm sorry, it's force of habit.
No, I totally understand. It's fine.
Raven Sam,
But I want-
go ahead.
What I want to say is that I'd like to call out Ronnie here because he just said, I don't want to be in a place where I'm disliked.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he stayed there for 35 years being disliked
Yeah.
by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not everybody. I'm sure there were some fans and
Yeah.
whatnot, but it's just all of a sudden now he's had enough. Now he wants, he might not be in his home where he is. So that's a big clue.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to pull him back in, Robin, Bowie, and they're all giving him arguments, and he's just like, yeah, I'm good. Especially today. This is my launching point because of you assholes. And he's totally taking it and flipping it and running with it. I hope he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I'm going to continue the next clip, which is really short. It's called I Don't Need This Aggravation.
Paul, you have the last word in Canada. Go ahead.
Hey, now, Howard, long time, first time, long time. Just a question, though. If you do stay on and you're going to be still working probably from home, is there really a need for Ronnie besides being an on-air personality? You're not going anywhere.
I always need Ronnie. Always.
If that wasn't a back office call, clear as slightly distorted, but not really. But a very no ambient noise setup caller bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe it for a minute that it's not a back office caller.
No nerves, no background noise, nothing. None of that.
Nothing. Nope.
Ronnie
Total
knows that.
setup.
And Ronnie
And
retiring,
one more thing.
I believe
That's
Ronnie, what he just said was in a rash moment. I happen to know there was a staff poll taken moments ago. 16 staffers will still be Ronnie's friend regardless of who he votes for. So there's 16 people. What is that, Ron?
Doesn't matter.
Wow.
So you're letting the minority win?
Whatever. I don't care anymore. You know?
Yep.
He's very upset.
I'm at that
Very
point. I don't care.
And this is, by the way, this is the equivalent of someone tripping you, tying your shoelaces, and putting their arm around you as they've tied your shoelaces together and bending over so you can trip over them. There's ensuring you're going to trip on your ass. and say, hey, man, it's all right. We got you covered. And it's exactly like that. Bunch of crabs, like making sure that other crab doesn't get out of the bucket. I think Stuttering John used that analogy, and it's apt.
That's a great analogy. In fact, his voice
it.
gets real shaky at the end of that, and I think it continues after this.
Oh, yeah, 20 seconds left, guys.
Wah,
you're
I
wrong.
love that.
Don't whammy. I don't give a fuck. Okay.
I love you guys.
I need at this fucking stage of my life. I need this fucking aggravation from these people. No fucking way. No fucking way.
Yeah, I gotta say,
I don't need this fucking aggravation.
Yeah, it sounds like he's done. He's completely done. And there's certain people that get a breaking point in their lives. And I think for Ronnie, this is absolutely one of those things where he's maybe even talked with Stephanie and said, she's probably told him, look, you really don't need this crap. It is true. Like before he says it, he's heard it. Yeah.
He's also faced a lot of big life questions, like what happens after I die to Stephanie. So maybe he's trying to make some last memories with her before he leaves the planet. And I can't blame him.
Yeah, enjoy yourself.
He's got a great girl. They're not even married yet. They were supposed to get married. And that got ruined by COVID too, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong on that. No, I think they did. I don't know. It's not that important.
We don't mind the age gap because we've seen that in certain other, wigged pelicans on the show that have a big age gap between their beards. So the last clip of the whole breakdown is called Joy Lays into Wiggy. Joy is the second. Are we going to say she's a real caller? She has to be too as well.
She sounded real too.
Yeah. So Joy
in all fairness.
Joy and Dawn. Joy at the Dawn.
They're both dishwashing brand names, by the way. I don't know what that means.
On Monday, Calgon will be calling in.
Joy, you have the last word. Go ahead.
Well, Howard, I have to take umbrage with you because I think that you've sort of kept this going on for the last week or so. Number one, I think you should have just cut this off. Yeah, you are. It starts at the top with you. And number one, I think that you love to pit your staff against one another. And
can't argue about that.
Yeah, he can't. She has him totally nailed. And you hear a little bit of noise in the background. That's a real caller. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what does happen in life. So
certain points.
What's better than a good argument?
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, well, you say that you're evolved and you're in therapy.
Thank you.
And that sort of thing. You should be a better man
but I'm not.
Than this.
Yes.
Yeah, well, obviously, you're not. And here is Ronnie, who has been a very loyal employee to you. And he's obviously really hurt by all of this. And I think that he has been badgered.
Okay, that's a little break, guys. You're going to push right through it. It's a 3-minute clip.
Enough. And you should cut it off. And especially with Ralph, who is an outright idiot. I don't know who he thinks he is. He has no education. He sits around, snips labels out of your clothes, and all he does is just spout off crap he hears. He has no education to back up anything he
and
says.
Joy, throw in the fact when he cuts the labels out of my clothes, he still leaves a little bit of the label and it scratches my skin.
Okay, so he's useless at that too. All right, go ahead.
All right, I'm forever incredulous. I'm going to say fake caller who's at home with like a family and kids and dealing with a home life, but works for the show and is doing, or having a friend of a friend call in and play this script out because she's
getting too much airtime.
The way she comes at him, she comes at him in a way and she just sort of hangs on. I just don't believe they let anybody outside in. I have a real hard time with that because it could go. I don't know if they have a dump button at this point, but there's always a 50% part of me that's like, that could never be real. And I'm imagining a staffer at home with his mom and his sister and his dog and making this call, or her.
Okay. So you're 50-50 on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's real because even if she's insulting him, she's actually talking him up and he's enjoying. It's about him because she's saying you're not evolved. You're not this. She's not going after the real Achilles heel when you talk about him is you've gone Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. And when if it's not that, and you're still talking about him, it's still attention that he's getting. Which back in the day, as a kid, the ping pong mention, data, he just wanted attention. I really should have played that clip, that one section, but I saved it for Bob D because we'll use it in a NPD episode.
No problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
The only thing is they get some digs in on Ralph.
Yeah.
So that's passive aggressive back caller if it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
So they often try to tear him down because they're jealous of his close relationship and all the money that he's garnered through his relationships, quote unquote, over the years.
Sam Simon.
I'll be kind tonight.
Yeah.
I just want to finish.
Okay.
I understand that.
Thank you.
I am right there with you on that. But I mean, really, Ralph Cirillo, who is the worst freeloader ever, who has absolutely no breeding, who's just a big, I can't even tell you what he is.
Howard, I call bullshit on this call in a huge way.
Go ahead, Gary.
Huge way. Here.
Okay, now let's listen to some Adelphi graduate education in action here, guys.
The Adelphi defense.
JD, myself, Ronnie to a degree, we have all been badgered and bullied over the years. Like you can't believe. You never fucking called in. This is suddenly this is your line in the sand.
I'm supporting you.
But you're not. You never called it when I was taking shit.
Gary, you think
the difference is, Bowie, that you were getting shit for being a cucked, like being a pussy at home. You were getting shit for your stupid lists and your stupid book. You were getting shit on for your caps, your teeth or whatever the fuck. You're getting shit on for your bar stools in your movie room, your screening room. You're getting shit for your pitch. You're getting shit for things that you should have gotten shit for. But when you get on someone about their politics and you make it personal, that's sort of the line that a lot of people have. It's not just this woman; it's loads of people around the world. It's not even an American thing. It's a common sense thing. It's an etiquette thing, as you mentioned so rightly. Mm-hmm. So let's keep going. There's only a minute and a bit.
She is someone who's upset with the politics that is being discussed.
Because she never called when you Howard, when you beat the shit out of me, she never called up and goes, "Hey, take it easy on Gary." It's politics.
I never heard Joy's name until today.
Let me tell you what. No, Gary, let me tell you what. I can take umbrage with Howard going all the way back. I can remember him going back and badgering the living hell out of Fred.
Yeah, and everybody, just about anybody else.
I really.
And
Howard,
I will continue to as well, right, Fred?
There's a mean streak to you.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a real mean streak to you.
Well, way to wake up.
So you can't.
Welcome to the party. I'm a horrible person.
He said that so many times in so many audio clips. He enjoys being like that's the key stumbling block in his evolution, if you want to call that, with his therapy. Why it never worked was he enjoys being an asshole at his core. Bob D, if you care to take that one to task, by all means, sir, I have at you. But you hear the joy in his voice, right?
Well, we're totally on the same vibe here, on the same reading our minds, because I was about to say the exact. I was just about to say that, like Robin.
Wasn't it a clip where I think it was the early Artie days when he started talking. He had that giddy voice and goes, "I love out of control people." Mm-hmm. It's not that he enjoys people who are fucked up, people who have some problem. He enjoys misery, other people's misery specifically. So he's in heaven now.
Joy, I'm the worst person there is.
Yeah,
Howard, you have a mean streak, and I've been listening for 30 years.
Yeah, Joy, I'm a bad person. What can I tell you? Welcome to the show.
Oh,
Joy, what do you look like? Do you squirt?
Can I tell you something? I'm changing Joy's name to Killjoy. Killjoy. Because it's really a bummer. I'll get out of here, Joy. But thank you for the call, and have a good weekend. Thank you.
That's the end.
Goodbye.
That's the end of that, guys. And we have got through one breakdown. Raven, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give? Because this was a bye week, if you want to call that, because there was no shows.
We didn't have shows. We got caught up. This was a blessing in disguise. It's just a week of peace. And I'm so grateful to everybody on the website who knows how to behave like adults. Just everybody I've come in contact with. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all in different ways. You all have great gifts.
Yeah.
And we'll be back live the Monday after this airs. for Cocktober. So come on, join the force.
All right. So let's do an over-under. Okay. 1,000 posts on Monday. Do you believe we're going to hit it? Because I'm sure it's going to be horrendously awful as usual, but worse than normal.
It depends. I don't think he's got a lot to talk about. We haven't had a big death. I don't know of any interviews with celebs. And he's probably going to ramp up for like, send me your dick pics.
Yeah.
Last chance, 24 hours. Please do it now or never. He's going to do an ad for that, trying to get some people in. But I think that plus 1,000 posts will definitely be the day that he has the actual contest. And he's describing it. And we're just going to be stenographers that day, like in a court, just typing away every quote we can or screen capturing, whatever. Have it your way, guys. Whatever suits you.
Mark Shabjevich, here's the, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, but you're the one who posted a thing saying, any takers? Like, anybody on the forum going to submit their pictures? Just to see, like, how far you get into the process. And it'd be funny if you took, like, a fake picture of someone, like, just a fake picture and said, this is me.
Submitting Orlando Bloom's dick from the paddleboard photo and just see how far that goes.
Exactly. Well, guys, you're going to hear this episode this Sunday night. You're listening to it now, obviously, so I don't know why I'm promoting it this way. But stay tuned. We've got not only this breakdown that will be Sunday night, 8 p.m. EST, premiere. Join us for the live chat. Every Sunday was pretty much where we're going to be releasing new episodes. The following Sunday, in between now and then, we're going to have a little special episode drop. Me and Sam did that independently, just for independently of the regular show stuff, just as a bonus for you guys. So I hope you like it. It's called we're blasting thethings.com article that Puff Beast that's completely shit writing, like it's a shit writing symposium. And
I love that.
And also, a week from now, we start. The 15 Foundation Saga begins, and I can't tell you how many people are looking forward to that. We got first episode wrapped up, second episode's recorded, and we're going to be recording maybe the third episode this week. It depends on how the week falls, but we're well caught up, guys, so we're not going anywhere.
Thank you so much from me and everybody else. That is going to be such a treat. Better than the summit.
Yeah, and it's actually turned out to be longer than we think it's going to be. So, guys, if we go to 10 or more episodes of the 15 Foundation, this is our North and South. This is our, I don't know, this is our, like our rich man, poor man. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
It's our manifesto.
Yeah. It really is something. Anyway, from Raven and myself, and obviously Sam and Absentia, we love you guys. Join us on Facebook and check out our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subs, and we're gonna make it. It's just we'd love to make it fast sooner rather than later. And check out our Patreon. Check out the tiers. There's a 15% discount for a year's subscription, and it's less than you tip your fucking Chinese delivery driver for crappy egg rolls and fortune cookies that don't apply in COVID 2020. So we love you guys. Take care and stay safe.
Bye.
To dismantle
rip them apart.
I like Artie.
So let's say people work for Robin, and let's say they can't work with Robin. And Robin will not see their point of view, right? She will only see her own.
That's exactly that.
Is that a case with you and me?
No, absolutely not. But
Howard's famous. But that's because Howard's enormously famous.
What are you talking about? He wasn't enormously famous when I met him.
Yeah, but he was your ticket.
No, I was thinking about
my ticket. God knows he was my ticket to hell.
See?
I was thinking